Good evening, chat. Hello, and welcome to the show. It is, wait, fuck, what day is it? It is Tuesday. God, for a second I thought it was Wednesday, but earlier today I was like, oh God, what day is it? For a second I was like, oh geez, it's only Monday. It was bad. It was bad. That's a scary thought. It's only Monday, so whew. That didn't last long. That did not last long. So, but yes, happy shutdown day. If you're an Indians fan, that didn't go so well today. If you're a Detroit Tigers fan, go fuck yourself. Yes, counting down to the feds down, yes. Tori the White says, is Aaron getting jail time now? Yeah, it sounds like he's got like 15 days, but based on how it's going to be served, he's only going to have to do like 8 days, and that's over the course of 4 weekends, I guess, and they're not going to be consecutive weekends. They're going to be like alternating weekends, so I mean, that's a pretty nice way of doing it. That's pretty good. I mean, it's still a loss for the toe. But you know what? Aaron will have time to convert to Islam 2 days at a time in installments. Hopefully, if Aaron's out there, he needs to start watching those convict cooking videos so he can make a spread while he's in there. So that'll be great. I mean, he's coping hard. I mean, shit. You'd be too if you lost, you were going to jail like that. Of course you would. Anybody would be. Aaron's gonna get so hard in prison. Oh, I don't know about him getting hard, but somebody will be getting hard inside jail. He will definitely. Don't talk to Gino. Sounds like a good idea. Cecilia says there's new orders in the Russell Greer case. I'll take a look at those at some point here. So, how many gallons of Somali goo can he go through in 8 days? I think we're going to find out. Well, he'll tell us, maybe. So, we shall see. So, is Aaron going to practice boxing in prison? There's going to be some box, but it's going to be more like his bussy than his like boxing. Are you ever going to go over Fudbuster's case and how it's going? Yes, there are some big new developments in that. Yes, I'll see if Matt's available this weekend, because if not, we'll do it Friday night and go over, because there's a lot to do there. Buddha Belly says, Aaron going to jail? Yeah, he's getting like 15 days. Apparently, it's only going to do 8 total. So, yeah. Yep, that was a loss. I thought that was going to happen. And you know what, chat? I finally got something wrong in this entire Ricada saga. I finally got something wrong. Happens. It happens sometimes. I hope Aaron gets on an episode of 60 Days In. That would be hilarious. Maybe he'll recruit a co-host. So yeah, you were so wrong. I know. I got wrong. Eventually it's going to happen. Eventually it happens. Even Ted Williams struck out. Even Ted Williams would strike. Ted Williams at his greatest is batting like 452. That means you're striking out over like nearly 60% of the time. It's like 55% of the time. He was not getting a hit. So it happens. Yeah, I might as well quit now. Is the jail time because of a plea deal, or did he go to court and lose? No, it's because of apparently Gino breaking the rules means Aaron broke the rules. I don't know. I think the judge was just sick of Aaron and just said, fuck it, and gave him some time, too, on top of it. Like, that's one of the problems. If the judge is pissed off at you, there's a whole lot you could do. And it sounds like Aaron already kind of pissed in that pool, so. Yeah. We'll go over it on Thursday. I got something wrong, time to win some, yeah. Just wait till Aaron's HRO holds up. You're going to be wrong like your hatred of Ham. Well, like I said, if that happens, fine. I still don't think that's going to happen. I still think he's going to lose. I think, it's going to be really bad. It's going to look really bad for Nick. It's going to look really bad for Melton. But at the end of the day, I think the judge is still going to say, nah, we ain't doing it. Yes, don't be FAFOing with bail conditions. Yes, Yes. The dabble figs will be pissing and shitting themselves. I'm sure they are. Hey, they get their win. They get to embrace that win. The steel-toed man was held accountable. Let's see here. Clippy Man Cummins says, how did Nick dodge a single day in jail, but Aaron is getting 8 days? Well, you go in front of different judges. You get different front of judges. It happens. It happens. I still don't think Nick deserved a day in jail. I know that, I remember everybody freaking out about that. He wasn't going to go to jail. He didn't deserve a day in jail. Do I think Aaron deserved any days in jail at this point? No. But that's why I'm not a judge. How long is he going to jail for? Like a couple of days total, but it's going to be spread out. And he's not reporting for 2 weeks, it sounds like. Yeah, Garrett, yes. Actually, it doesn't mean striking out. It means he didn't get on base without an error. Yes. Thank you. He could have been walked. Thank you. Or he could have been hit by a pitch. What's worse, 8 days in jail or 5 years on probation? I mean, he's still on probation afterwards. So being on probation, it doesn't, probation's a bitch. Everything you do is watched and monitored, and you have all these rules to follow. There's a lot of times I've had clients where hold on, guys. Come here, come on. There you go. All right, there you go, guys. You want to see the dog Bon? There you go. She's finally figuring out how to jump on the fat man. So there you go. This is the dog we're looking for. This is the dog we're watching. It's Bon de Papillon. Say something. Speak like JF Garapi. She goes, Vivi. I agree, you mashed the potato. But no, if Aaron's time was done after that, yeah, the 8 days sounds like a great deal, but he's still in probation and there's 365 days hanging or 4 days hanging over his head. So it's not really, probation's a bitch. You have to follow all kinds of rules and all kinds of shit. It's going to suck. Probation's not fun. So probation's never fun. Unsub your mom. Well, that too. Unsub your mom, yeah. Nico says, also don't accept unconstitutional bail conditions. I mean, were they really that unconstitutional? I know everybody's sitting here acting like that. Don't fucking talk about the victim is kind of like a normal one, especially in these types of situations. Don't be harassing or fucking with the victim. That's I don't think you're going to find any court that's going to overturn that, even in the interim. As much as people want to shit on Todd Peterson, those are normal conditions. Most people are smart enough not to fuck around with them. That's kind of the thing here. That's kind of the thing here when it comes to it. Don't fuck around with the bail conditions. Let's see here. The wheels of justice are worn down and stutter. Well, yeah. Was Aaron's judge a female? Yes. Content lasagna for 9 months is whoa, buddy. Let's see here. First, I'm really racking them up. First, I'm wrong about Aaron getting jailed, then I'm really wrong about Rekieta deserving jail. Yeah, that's it. Does Aaron get what is left over in his commissary when he gets out? Yeah, you get your money back. They don't get to keep it. So you get discharged with your money. Yes, it's no, it's not a Pomeranian. It's a Papillon. Pomeranians are gay. It's a Papillon. Because its ears in the back, they look like a butterfly. So, is Clyde transitioning? No. Don't feed after midnight. Oh my God, it doesn't fucking stop. It's only 7 months old, so it's bouncing off the fucking walls on top of everything. Does this one go a woo? No. It goes yipe, 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 yipe. Do you ever have straight dogs in that house? Why? Do you want to fuck them? Yes, the dog is like, this is the most stuff I've ever seen at once. So, let me see. How hard is it to get a criminal restraining order generally? Well, it's not a restraining order. It's just a no contact order. Like, if you have a crime and there's a victim, one of the conditions is leave the fucking victim alone. Don't contact him. Don't go near him. When it becomes cases like this where there's harassment issues involved, it's leave them the fuck alone. Your name does not leave. Their name does not leave your mouth. That's a very common thing. Leave them the fuck alone. It's very obvious. Cam W says Clyde's been replaced. That's right. The Somalis got him. This is Clyde 2.0. Why are you biting on me? So let me see here. I'm trying to catch up. You guys are going fast. Could Aaron appeal to the Supreme Court? Yeah, sure. That'd be a real effective use of money. Yep, Steel Toe Commissary Show, chat. That's right. Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, JPay, Securus. Can we get to 25 honey buns, chat, or 7 Keefy coffees? Just 7 Keefy coffees today, chat. That's our goal. Aaron's got to pay rent to the Somalis when he goes back in. Let's see here. No, I think we're all caught up. So, anyways, Bon, I'm going to set you down, okay? What do you... Oh, thank you. All right, I'm going to set you down. No more barking. Oh, hold on. Calm down. Bruh. I need you to calm down. Okay? Can you calm down? Thank you. Jeez. If dogs lick you excessively, it could be a sign of diabetes. She's the only dog that's ever done that. So, she licks everything. She licks the other dogs, too. She licks Clyde. She licks the cats. I don't know, do the cats have diabetes, too? Yeah, we're watching her for 2 weeks, so we've got her for about another week and a half. Do I do that for my client? I do that for my clients a lot. Like, bro, you got to calm the fuck down. You got to calm the fuck down. It's because I'm so sweet. That's what my mom says. So, meanwhile, Sonny sits in doggy prison. I know it's like Robin's Island for dogs. Over there at the Ricada household. Will Kayla visit Aaron in the big house? That would be funny if that happened. Does Bon have opinions on the USS Liberty? Not really, because they were Israeli magisters that attacked. So she'd be like, what you mean? We supplied the jets that attack USS Liberty. I have no opinion on this. It's a soothing thing. I lick my clients. Yeah. Ugh. When I get high off the meth, sure. Letty's been married 12 months. Is everything, Sean? Everything! Do I hold my clients like that in court? No. No. Can you explain what happened to Aaron in court? No one's covered it, I think. Well, people have covered it. So Aaron had his sentencing today, and apparently, Nick and Kayla come in, and they both, it's been the worst thing ever. I mean, don't know how much more worse it could be than, your house getting raided, tons of coke getting discovered, your kids being taken out of the house, and being made as a complete laughing fucking stock. But hey, I guess you know what? It's all perspective. So Aaron got like 15 days total in jail. He's still on probation. There's like 360 some days hanging over his head, and he's got to serve those 15 days starting on the midpoint of this month, which is normal having a report date. And then from there, he's got to serve it on the weekends. And it's not like he's doing every weekend. He's doing like every other weekend. And even then with every other weekend, it's like only 4 weekends total based on the way they do jailing up in Minnesota. So Aaron's kind of getting off. He's not like, it's still an L, but 8 days is still better than 15. So that's roughly what's happening. Also, he got a big old fucking fine. The court fined the shit out of him, I think, from what I understand. Did I see the Black Hawk choppers in Chicago? Yes, that was Bortak rappelling out of those helicopters, going after the trendy arugula guys. So apparently last night in Chicago, Border Patrol surrounded an apartment building, and a bunch of Bortak, which is the kind of like the special mission, like the HRT for the Border Patrol. Like, those guys are fucking hardcore. They also don't murder U.S. citizens like the HRT did to Vicky Weaver. The Bortak guys came in on a Black Hawk and like fucking either repelled or fast roped out of it to the roof of this apartment building, and they started clearing out all the Venezuelans. So, let me see here. So, I think I covered that all right there. Dr. Coffin says, Sean, language. Yes, I was speaking language. Yeah, Dan, he's going to have so many jail stories, and he will be the guy in every one of them. Yeah. Well, when Aaron tells the story about what he sees, you're going to be like, okay, that means that happened to Aaron. And he dissociated. So when he talks about like having to sit there and cry in the shower, he's going to be like, yeah, I was watching this guy cry in the shower. And no, he's just dissociating. So he doesn't actually realize he's crying in the shower. Yeah, she is roughing now. That's her. She borks very quietly. So, all right, guys, it is time to get started with the Ethan Klein, basically the H3 versus Hassan's Hose lawsuit. And as you guys remember in this, Ethan Klein, behind H3 Productions, the H3 podcast, and all of that, had a relationship with Hassan Piker for a while, where they were sitting there and talking about leftist stuff, and then, Ethan, failed to realize or thought he could ignore the fact that Hassan's like a hardcore fucking jihadist supporter, and all that, and it all kind of fell apart for Hassan and Ethan. Yes, I mean Lex Luthor. Yes. So the mastermind. Well, anyway, as that all fell apart, all of Hassan's ball washers, which were a bunch of fucking losers and psychopaths, started doing bullshit to Hassan, calling children's services on Hassan. Ethan. God, Hassan having kids. Fuck. But Ethan Klein's got kids. They called children's service on his kids. Skulls were sent to his house. And they've been just in general fucking with him. And it's been a while since we covered this. Ethan Klein then put out 2 separate videos. And one of them, the biggest one, is the content nuke about Hassan Piker sucking terrorist ballsack every chance he can get. And then Denham's, Casey, Tron, and Frogan, the 3 streamers which are Hassan's Hose, decided to watch the content nuke live on their streams without enough interruption or commentary as a means, as they clearly stated, they wanted to air it so Ethan Klein would not get any of the benefits, clicks, or revenue from people there. Now, what did they not realize? Well, Ethan Klein set that up as a trap, and he knew they were going to do that, so he had it all registered, copyrighted, everything, and he's now suing them for copyright infringement. He's also now suing, at the time, he's suing the H3Snark subreddit, which is where a bunch of these fucking losers on Reddit get to be dickheads and terrorize Ethan Klein. And they were working under a theory of contributory copyright infringement. Yes, that same thing that the Farms is being accused of. That is what he is accusing the mods of doing, in that basically they were working together to create a situation and push the copyright infringement that was out there. So from here, Ethan has sued Casey Tron, sued Frogan, and sued Denham's. He is trying to get the information from Reddit to subpoena the identities of these people so he could start hunting them down and making them suffer. Now, at the end of the day, I feel like I should start doing like Ethan Klein, like I know he's got a Tourette's thing, but I've got the sniffles today. My nose. I was a sneezy boy earlier today. I was sneezing like a son of a bitch. Yes, Ethan Klein is going after these people. Is this about copyright infringement as much as he's trying to make people suffer? No, it's about making people suffer. But the neat thing is, when you have a lawsuit and the other party's committed a tortious act, you can make them fucking suffer. It's very easy to make them suffer and still do so in a justified way. And drag this out and be the most grueling, harmful, and expensive thing these people could do. Ruining them, bankrupting them. Those are acceptable things. I want to make these people suffer. It's like Al Capone and the Untouchables. I want them dead. I want their families dead. I want their houses burned to the ground. You could have that kind of power. You could have that kind of authority that you're doing. Look at your hand and rest while moving your eyebrows up and down. You're allowed to do both. You're allowed to do both. Now, there's times where lawsuits are solely just for causing problems. This is one of those times where, yes, it is, but it's also a valid lawsuit. So we're going all the way, chat. We are going to go all the way on this one. Fat fingers, yes. Fattest fingers. Don't mute the cough also. Well, that's also DSP. So as we go through here, though, we're going to get into some updates. Just some basic case updates here real quick. And the first couple of these, actually, where we got some super chats here. Oh, Whiskey 77 real quick says 2.0 says Clyde has been sharing his peeing around the house. Isn't that a crime? Yes, Bon has been eating Clyde's peeing. Yes, har. And then Fair Frozen 55 says, today was a very long day. End of the month, end of the quarter. Everyone late trying to get paid for shit they have sitting on warehouses. I can see that. Yeah, nobody pays on time. Even in the legal world. So let's get there's some basic updates for some stuff here. This is the case of Ethan Klein versus Dedhams. And the TEI is the entertainment company that Ethan Klein is suing through. Because remember, you're not suing as Ethan Klein, you're suing as the entertainment company. Because the entertainment company is the one that holds the copyright. And it's suing Alexandra Marwa Saber, formerly known as Marwa Talat. Dedhams, I don't know. Sounds like her family was chased around by Gila's relatives when she was in the IDF or something. I don't really know. I don't really care. Anyways, they had a joint Rule 26F report. This is the discovery meeting. This is the discovery conference where they sit down and talk. Generally, you do it over the phone. You don't have to sit there and face to face. But they did have their scheduling conference. They set a bunch of stuff up. The complaint was filed June 19th. The answer was filed August 14th. Trial is tentatively set for October 26, 2026. Remember, these are civil cases, so they are set on a long trajectory because discovery is a long time and there's no immediacy to these. So we go through this real quick. How does this work? Well, part of what the court wants is a condensed version of everything. Statement of the case. Let's boil this down because look, it's 11 pages total. So boil this down and condense it as much as possible. So there are copyright cases. They're copyrighted works. There's one of them, the H3 show number 105, Countdown to Doomsday, was registered with the U.S. Copyright Office. And then there was the Content Nuke that was registered with the Copyright Office on January 28th. And they say that Dedhams reproduced, publicly performed, and otherwise used a verbatim copy of the Countdown episode and the Nuke, collectively the works, in her January 31st online broadcast. on Twitch. The use was for a commercial purpose and done without license, authorization, or consent. In addition to that, there's the contributory infringement against Does 1 through 10. I am surprised the Does haven't brought up the whole Sony versus Cox thing and tried to get a stay on all this because the Supreme Court's sorting that issue out. I mean, you at least file it in the meantime. But hey, what do I know? What do I know? The Redditors are smarter than I am. Anyways, they claim the mods of the subreddit had knowledge of the infringement and worked and induced or materially contributed to the infringement by promoting the broadcast. You know, Ethan Klein is requesting its losses plus all of Denham's profits attributed to her use of the works and hold the Snark mods joint and severally liable for said profits and losses. They said they also seek statutory damages for the willful infringement, and they also want the mods joint and severally liable for statutory damages. Now, this becomes an issue because with the Sony versus Cox thing, depending on how the Supreme Court rules, there might not be statutory damages for contributory copyright infringement. That is actually something that may happen. We don't know yet. We don't know if that's set up correctly or how that's going to work. So just something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind. So the defendant Denham's contentions. So she claims that she's a content creator and producer of live stream content. She denies the allegations of infringement or the notion they used any work allegedly owned was not unauthorized. Among other things, she contends that numerous defenses apply, including but not limited to fair use. I don't see how you're going to get that. Further, if she did it, any damage resulting from any act or otherwise, hold on. Furthermore, Denham's denies that TI suffered any actual damages resulting from any act or omission attributable to Denham's or other forms of damage recovery are legally available or warranted. She's saying they're entitled to anything. She seeks judgment against Ethan, her court costs, including the defense of this action and attorney's fees. I don't see trying to argue fair use. Notice it's but not limited to. So there are other defenses, but they're going to try fair use. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how this is going to work here. Luke, I agree, but here's the problem. Depending on what the Supreme Court does, this might be it. It all depends on how the Supreme Court answers the issues. We don't know. There's going to be a lot up in the air right now about that. A lot's going to be up in the air about that. We don't know how far the Supreme Court's going to go. They agree that there's jurisdiction under the Copyright Act. The court has federal question jurisdiction, 100% true. The legal issues. TI believes the primary issue will be the Snark mod's forthcoming motion to quash. They are directing at quashing the subpoenas to Reddit and Discord for the personal identifying information. And the mods intend to file a motion to quash on or before September 22nd. And this was filed September 12th. Thankfully, Ethan and his Jewish attorney did not file this on September 11th. I give them credit for that. Hold on one second. Okay. So they say so they point out here that the outcome of the quash will dictate if and when TI names and serves the Snark mods. If the motion is denied, Ethan will promptly move to amend his complaint and name the mods. Denham's takes no position regarding the foregoing issue. Yeah. Yep. The parties believe the primary, and we've already addressed this issue. Denham's cut them loose. She's willing to let them twist in the wind. The parties believe the primary issues are whether Denham's works constituted copyright infringement. I agree. And whether one of the defenses applies to precluding the infringement. And it says if her work constitutes copyright infringement, whether the Snark mods engage in contributory copyright infringement, and if so, what are the actual damages attributable to the infringement? And alternatively, as to the nuke only, whether Denham's and the Snark mods infringement was innocent, willful, or neither for purposes of the fact finder's assessment of statutory rather than actual damages. So that's where it's clear it's not innocent because they admitted they were doing it for a reason. That's why her intent does matter. It wasn't innocent. It was willful. Her intent is clearly established there. So they point out there are parties in this case. Real quick, the parties are Ethan, TEI, Denham's, the Snark mods, And they say the mods are unknown. We don't know anything about them yet. They claim, though, and then Ethan's claims are, he contends that the recipient witnesses to the case are likely to be Ethan Klein regarding the registration of the nuke, TEI, the impact of the unauthorized use of the nuke had on his company, but not limited to revenue, and the prior infringement of the work from the Snark mods. Another witness is going to be Gila regarding the creation of the nuke and all this other stuff that's going on as far as what they're going to be able to do here. And they're just talking about what these people are going to be able to attest to. Everything that they can talk about here. Her understanding of copyright law, fair use in particular, because remember, these guys, the clients have their names attached to a massive copyright lawsuit that went through many, many years ago. The analytics, because, Gila's probably the one in charge of all that, and she can testify to all of it. The profits Dedham received from her use of the nuke. Now, here's where that gets a little sketchy. How is she going to be able to introduce that so well? Because I only bring up, guys, remember the Johnny Depp case? You had that really sophisticated, old-timey attorney come in who's like, I've been in the industry forever. I don't know if Gila's going to be able to give that proper information. I'm not sure, though. Well, we'll see. The identity of third-party individuals regarding the mods. The Snark mods regarding their pinned commentaries. She probably went through and cataloged all their shit. The prior knowledge of Denham's use of copyrighted works. And whether they went to the extent they viewed the stream. They also claim that the key documents will relate to the creation and registration of the nuke. Denham's unauthorized use of the same. The profits attributable to her. And they're just going through just listing out all the basic information here. They claim that the witnesses, Dedham's contends the recipient witnesses in this case are likely to be TEI's corporate representatives, Ethan, Gila, and Denham's. However, Denham's reserves the right to identify additional witnesses as doing so becomes appropriate. For right now, she's not. She anticipates producing one or more expert witnesses. Dedham's contends the witnesses will include, among other things, the works, the live stream, documents and communications relating to the live stream. All this stuff makes sense. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think this makes, nothing here probably sounds outlandish to you guys, like if you're trying to prove copyright and there's a YouTube video. Well, the people who made the video, they could come in and talk about it. Here's my analytics. Here's how much she made. Here's how much all this went through. So they include the damages and its losses are attributable directly to her work. And it says, alternatively, as to the nuke only, TEI seeks damages up to 150 grand. TEI also seeks its costs and attorney's fees incurred. So that's the thing. Ethan Klein will get paid. Like, he could get up to the 150 grand. Remember, how willful and malicious were you about it? But then they also get their attorney's fees covered separately. Dedham's denies they suffered any damages. In addition, they deny any statutory damages. They say the insurance, there's no insurance policies that cover this. You have to state that to let the parties know that there's insurance involved, because that can gum up the works. It changes how we're looking at things. Motions that are be expected to file, procedural motions. So the motion to quash the subpoena, we're going to get to that here. Then there's procedural motions. Ethan Klein's going to file a partial motion for summary judgment as to the validity of the copyrights in the works, and then Denham's use of the verbatim copies of the works for commercial purposes. They say if the Snark mods are named, their knowledge of Denham's infringement. And then 4, certain affirmative defenses pled in Denham's answer. Ethan's going to file this motion after discovery. So remember, guys, you can file summary judgment as the plaintiff or the defendant. When you file it either way, you're telling the judge, look, assume, like, here you go, evaluate all of this. And the judge could look at summary judgment and say, Ethan, you win. Or he could say, you lose. The party filing it could completely lose. That happens. That happens sometimes. At the same time, Denham anticipates filing a motion for summary judgment against Ethan on her affirmative defenses, including the fair use doctrine, but not limited to it. She intends to file her motion for summary judgment during or after discovery. And then Denham's reserves the right to file any other dispositive motion they think is necessary, meaning there might be other motions available to her, things that may arise, and they don't want to preclude themselves from raising it. So they're saying, we reserve that right. And then the class, there's no class action. It's not applicable. They don't believe this is a complex litigation. Yeah, it's not like Sony and Warner Brothers suing each other over something. This is going to be pretty straightforward. The status of discovery, on August 26th, they served Ethan with her initial disclosures and an initial round of documents. They anticipate utilizing all discovery methods allowable under the federal civil rules. They've already done their first round of written discovery. Both parties reserve the rights to propound additional requests. The parties anticipate to take depositions at the end of discovery, although both parties reserve all rights with respect to whether and when those depositions begin. So it could be at any time. But they both agreed we're going to try to just do paper discovery first because depositions cost a lot of money. The expenses get fast. You're going to have to send your attorney, you're going to send your attorneys out there. So that's how this is going to work. You try to limit it, but sometimes you might do a deposition sooner. There's a discovery cutoff. There's expert discovery disclosures, settlement conference / alternative dispute resolution, also known as mediation. They have to give it up. You got to church up everything. Everything's got a churched up name. The parties believe that a jury trial could take 5 to 7 court days. If the Snark mods are named and served in this action. In the scenario that Ethan anticipates a call as witnesses as above. If the Snark mods are not named, this could take 4 to 5 court days. In this scenario, Ethan would call 2 witnesses. Denhams would anticipate calling 4. And they say the parties reserve all rights with respect to trial witnesses, meaning they're not locking themselves in. That's why you always do it. Oh, yeah, this is not going to settle. Ethan's not going to settle unless he gets the information. This is about making people... No. This is not... Ethan wants to make people suffer. This isn't suffer. This is suffer. No, Ethan is going scorched fucking earth. This is going to look like Warsaw after the second uprising. Not the ghetto uprising, but after the Russians sat on the Vistula and watched the Germans wipe out the home army. Like, this is going to get epic. There is going to be no settlements. Unconditional fucking surrender is where Ethan is going with this. That's where this is going. There is no, yeah. Denham's turning over in exchange for less pegging. Oh, I could see that. I definitely could see that. I could see that. Do I mean Dresden? No, because Dresden, we did it from the air. I'm talking about you're sending in, your troops and you're clearing out building by building by building, and you're just destroying as you go. Anybody could sit there and just bomb it into nothingness. But the Germans sat there and cleared it out house by house, building by building. So, yeah. Let me see here. So, say both parties have requested a trial by jury. TI wishes to know if Denhams has asserted certain equitable defenses, and the extent to whether the court will need to decide those defenses may be addressed by the parties with the court at a subsequently later stage. So there are some defenses, if they're involving equitable defenses, the court has to decide, and it's not for the jury to decide. But they're telling the judge, like, we'll worry about that when we get to the point of, like, we're going to trial. So we're not worrying about that now, but remember, this is just giving the judge notice of, hey, here's what's going on. Both parties are declining to have this matter tried before a magistrate judge. You can do that if you want to. Ethan's lead attorney is Ram Barnissim. Denham's lead counsel is Benjamin Cassis. And they say, additionally, Benjamin Grush shall represent Denham's at trial. They say, as of the matter at the time of this report, the parties don't anticipate needing to consider appointing a master or independent scientific expert. Then you can do that. There are times where the court will do that. So, yes, the Soviets wanted the home army destroyed as much as the Germans did. Yes, they did. That's why the Soviets sat there on the Vistula the river, and just sat there and let the Germans fucking take care of it. Because why attack Warsaw when the Germans are attacking it for you? The Poles were very, very upset about that. Yeah, how does Dedhams feel knowing she's relying on Jew lawyers? I don't know. How does that work for her? How does Hassan like that? Dedhams is going to be saved by the Zionists, Hassan. They say other issues. There are some other issues. Ethan is concerned if the Snark mods are joined in a lawsuit, it will require a new report for the parties to reduce scheduling. Dedhams is not aware of any other issues that she believes are necessary to identify. And then this is what you submit. This is how this works. And this is how that goes. So it's signed by Ethan's attorney, and it's signed by the other attorney. And that's how the court knows that we've got that sorted out. Now, moving on from there, there are some updates. And this is just going, we're going to go through this real quick just so you guys can see. This is the case of Ethan versus Casey Tron. Her name, Casey Cavernous. I'm sure cavernous is what her snatch is like after, since she worked at porn, I'm pretty sure she probably got hollowed out. Anyways, Casey Cavernous. And this is just an order from the court. You know, this is the Western District of Missouri in the Western Division of that court. And the courts have their own orders they set. It's a proposed scheduling order. And notice they say, you know, these things are here. The court's saying if you don't comply with our page limitations, unless you file for leave with the court, will be stricken from the record automatically. The court also, it's interesting in this, the court attached the principles of civility as adopted by the Kansas City Bar Association. And notice, this is in all caps here. Counsel should be aware the court expects adherence to these principles by attorneys appearing in this division. Further, the court believes it to be in the best interest of all concerned parties to be aware of the court's expectation. To that end, counsel shall forward a copy of the principles to all clients involved in this action. This is the judge's way of saying you don't get to act like faggots and your clients don't get to act like faggots. We want everybody to be civil. So they say the case is set for a pretrial on October 7th at 2 p.m. It's a telephone conference. The parties are asked to call the court's conference line and use the access code. The court deputy will arrange the participation. Counsel who appears for each party must have authority to agree upon proposals submitted in the scheduling order discovery plan, meaning you have to talk to your clients ahead of time. You can't say, oh, well, hey, I need to go clear that with my client, Your Honor. No, you should have that already acknowledged that your client is allowing you to set whatever you need to set. So they say that the Rule 26 F conference shall be no later than September 16th. Discovery shall commence immediately after this conference is held. The party shall file a proposed scheduling order, discovery plan by the 23rd. And then the proposed plan shall state the anticipated length of trial, whether the case will be tried to a court or to a jury. The proposed trial date shall be no sooner than 150 days, meaning you're not allowed to do this in 90 days. The court's like, you're not allowed to jam up my docket after the deadline of filing and dispositive motions. Also, I think the court's worried. I don't want you doing that because nobody's ready in 150 days. And the moment we start screwing around and people need more time, it's going to be a disaster. Yes, this is already passed. Yep, because today is September 30th. Thank you, Foxwood. I'm using these as examples of documents because I'm not going through all the same shit with Ethan and Casey. But I think it's important for you guys to see how courts handle this. And notice this court's different than the court in LA. Every court can be different. And from courtroom to courtroom, each judge can have their own separate rules in the same courthouse. And they say after the deadline proposed for filing a dispositive motion. So you're not allowed, the court wants time to rule on things. It's expected the deadline for complete discovery will not exceed 180 days from when the last defendant was served, unless the court extends for good cause. Meaning you have 6 months from discovery. This is all civil, yes. If I wanted to know how courts operate, I'd act like Ethan Ralph. Well, Casey Tron is suffering for you. So they say the proposed plan should address concerns for electronically stored information, where it is and where it resides, the preservation of it, the ease and difficulty, the cost of producing, the schedule and format of production, and agreements about privilege or work product protections. If the discovery is exchanged pursuant to protective order, the following procedures apply. If the parties can't agree to a protective order, it's to be resolved pursuant to the requirements of Local Rule 37, meaning there's a meet and confer. Hold on one second. Chat, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry, chat. All right, we're back. So if you can't agree, you have a meet and confer, and then you have to do a telephone conference with the court before you file any motion requesting a protective order. If you agree to an order, you got to file a joint motion, and the terms have to be in it. We talked about this before with the protective orders, how they work. Especially Russell Greer. So it just goes on and on and on from here. You guys can see this. And then it says, if in 15 days from the date of this order, each non-governmental, meaning if the government's involved, it's different. You have to file a statement identifying all your parent companies, subsidiaries, and affiliates that have issued shares of the public. So. And they say if this case has been removed from state court and if a jury trial has not already been specifically requested, you have 20 days from the date of this order to file a demand. So this goes on and kind of lays out all the stuff you have to do. And they also remind you about rules, that the number and form of interrogatories are governed by the rules of civil procedure. The time for depositions is governed by Rule 30, which means, you know what happens? This is always a problem, and this is always a problem. There's a reason why the judge is doing this. Local discovery disputes are governed by local rule. The form of answers and the disclosures required by the rules are located in the local rules. The filing of motions is not postponed discovery. See local rule 26B. There are times where people think if motions are filed, it postpones discovery. No, the court is telling you, don't fuck around, keep going. The judge is warning you. Remember, every court's different. You have to know your local rules. You have to know your local rules. They will make or break you. There is, let me see here. So we're all from moving on from here, guys. There is, real quick, just so you can see this. This is now going back to the case with Dedhams, and I think this just once again highlights the issues courts have. And this is the court expressing its frustration because attorneys don't like to read, and they do whatever the fuck they want. And it says, read this order carefully. It controls this case and differs in some respects from the local rules. Now, what does that mean? Remember, as I said, each court has its own local rules, but from each courtroom to courtroom, each judge has different rules. And then for criminal cases versus civil cases, each judge has different rules for those situations. And for certain types of cases, it may have different rules for different types of civil cases. So yes, people not reading. So when you file a motion for summary judgment, you must comply with the federal rules, the local rules, this order, and the court's standing order for civil cases. So you have 4 separate things you got to worry about. 4 separate things. You know, these are fact dependent. You should prepare papers in a fashion that clearly identify the facts material to the motion. There are the following requirements that are here. You have to meet and confer before a summary judgment. You know, he wants a joint brief. They want a single joint brief that is including moving and opposition. So your brief and theirs for any summary judgment motion, meaning you don't have to combine it to say like, oh, you know, if they're disagreeing and we're disagreeing, that it kind of looks bleh. But you have to include it all as a joint brief. Multiple joint motions are highly disfavored. You know, no more than one will be done without leave of court. Cross motions on the same legal issues are highly disfavored. The court disfavors those. They say if a non-moving party has a good faith belief, the undisputed facts relied on demonstrate the opposing party is entitled to summary judgment, you can ask for it, but you're not entitled to it. The appropriate timing. You don't have to wait until the motion cutoff to bring motions for summary judgment. That's their way of saying, don't wait till the last minute. We hate it. As a courtesy to both the court and the opposing party, a moving party should not wait until the last possible day to initiate the filing. On the other hand, premature motions and motions claiming the opposing party has insufficient evidence when discovered is not closed for 6 months, meaning this has happened before. Notice how he's saying that specifically. You're like, wow, it's like that's happened. Yes, it has. And I'm sure it's happened quite a bit. They only waste time and money for everybody. The page limitations. Each separately represented party shall be limited to 25 pages. Exclusive the tables of contents and authorities. Reply shall not exceed 10 pages. Only rarely for good cause will we grant an application. Meaning you filed a 70-page complaint. You have to condense it down with all the discovery. You have to condense it down to 25 pages. The typeface shall comply with the local rules. It's either proportionally spaced or monospace face may be used. Times New Roman font must be no less than 14 point. Courier font must be no less than 12 point. Footnotes shall be in the same font and size as the body of the memorandum. That way you don't jerk the system around and make like 6-point font footnotes. No, they must be the same size. Counsel shall adhere to the local rules with respect to the conversion of all documents to the PDF format. So when a document is electronically filed, it is in proper size and is PDF searchable. All documents shall be filed in a format that can be the text can be selected, copied, and pasted directly from the document. This is yeah, the font must be Wingdings. Yes. No Comic Sans. No Comic Sans. Counsel need not request a hearing date and may notice motions for summary judgments for any Friday, except holidays at 11 a.m. Immediately before filing the motion, the party must check the closed motion dates column located on the right side of Judge Chu's procedures and schedules page on the court's website to make sure the date has not been closed off. The closed, and this is just the calendar, the date column is updated, weekly. The court will issue a minute order containing the motion to a date that's available. You should submit one paper copy of all the filings to the judge's mailbox on the fourth floor of the First Street Courthouse. Pro se litigants are exempt from this. If you're a pro se, you're not allowed in the courthouse. So your joint brief, what's in the joint brief? Well, you have a table of contents, table of authorities. In table of authorities, all the cases. An optional brief introduction section stated jointly or stated separately by each party under appropriate subheading identifying the party. So defendant's introduction or plaintiff's introduction. A statement of facts section stated jointly or stated separately. And if you can't agree to it, which is probably what's going to happen, you're going to do it, each one, their own state of facts. The analysis section that sets forth the summary judgment standard, followed by arguments organized by issue that present the competing positions on an issue-by-issue basis. So you're going to go each issue. Plaintiff, defendant, issue 2. Plaintiff, defendant, issue 3. Plaintiff, defendant. Is this just directions for the attorney to do their job properly? Some of it, but this joint brief is to... Because if you don't make a joint brief, this judge is tired of reading 50, 60-page bullshit from both parties. He's forcing them to condense and refine and edit down. Like, what is the core issue we're getting at? And that's why he's doing this. It's because attorneys like to talk, and we bloviate, and we go on and on and on and on and on. You guys hear me talk here. The judge wants to be able to take a 3-hour review of all this shit and cut it down to 45 minutes. That's what he wants. He wants a condensed version. Yes, no word salads. The judges are tired of the bullshit, is what they're doing here. So they say for each issue, the moving party present the legal argument, citation authority where applicable, and citation to the joint appendix of facts. They said followed immediately by the opposing party's response, and similarly, they must be supported by legal argument, citation to authority, and citation to joint appendix. They say to illustrate the foregoing, the following suggested organization is provided. So the judge is like, listen, you fucking assholes, I guess that wasn't enough. Because it wasn't enough. So they go through and they're listing it out. Notice how they're doing this. Because you guys apparently would fucking fight over it, I'm doing this now for you guys. And it just goes on and on and on. And it says, to illustrate a cross motion for summary judgment, the suggested organization is provided, meaning you should probably do it this way. You won't fuck up. It goes through and lists how they do this. There's going to be a defendant's motion for summary judgment. It goes through blah, 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 blah. Plaintiff's motion, blah, 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 blah. It says a briefing schedule. There's a meet and confer. You must arrange for an in-person meeting or video conference, not just phone. You have to see each other no later than 60 days before the motion hearing cutoff. The parties, however, should make every effort to meet sooner than the 60th day to allow sufficient time to do this. Because remember, this is not your only case. You've got all kinds of other shit going. Yes, you're so retarded, I'll do it for you. Yes. He says, you guys can't figure this shit out. I'll have to do it for you. The moving parties portion of the joint brief, no later than 14 days after the meet and confer. The moving party shall personally deliver or email to the opposing party an electronic copy of the portion of the joint brief with all their parts. And it says no later than 14 days after receiving the moving party stuff, the opposing party shall deliver their versions of everything. The opposing party shall not modify in any way the moving party's portions of the joint brief. At this point, the opposing party should sign the brief. Yes. After receiving the integrated version of the motion and related papers, the moving party shall finalize it for filing without making any revisions to the joint brief and appendices, except to note in the joint appendix whether any facts added are disputed or undisputed. And once finalized, they shall sign and file the joint brief no later than 4 days after receiving it. Now, why is all this here? Because you know how many people probably have fucked around with this, or lawyers would fuck around? This judge sounds like a control freak and an egomaniac. Well, he's a federal judge, and the joke goes, what's the difference between God and a federal judge? God knows he's not a federal judge. But the amount of faggotry this judge has probably dealt with over his career or has seen his fellow judges deal with, I mean, these guys sit down at conferences and talk about all the retardation that attorneys do. And we attorneys can be really fucking retarded. Remember, part of our job is going, well, you didn't actually say that we couldn't do this, Judge. Ha, ha, ha. I mean, that's how we operate. Actually. So. They say that this will be accompanied by a notice in the motion. It shall be calendared pursuant to the local rules, the judge's standing orders, and the trial dates worksheet on an available date. No later than 7 days after the joint brief is filed, and no later than 21 days, the moving party may separately file a reply memorandum, not exceeding 10 pages. The moving party may not use this filing to supplement the joint appendix or any of the stuff they already submitted. No additional briefing or filing support is permitted. This is very strict. Yes, David says some attorneys are really fucking retarded. Yes. Remember, it's motion, response, reply. And this court is very adamant that that is it. If there's stipulation to extend the briefing schedule, you may stipulate if it's reasonable for all parties. If the parties are filing cross motions on different claims, the briefing schedule will need to be adjusted. Any stipulation on a lengthier thing must provide the court at least 21 days between the reply deadline and hearing date and comply with the motion hearing cutoff deadline. So you could do all this, but you have to comply with our deadlines. Otherwise, it doesn't work. The court goes through what are our joint appendix of facts. Here's different things here. This is a joint appendix of facts. And they say, and you'll go through this. This is how this is supposed to look in this format. There's good faith preparation. You have to do this in good faith. You work cooperative, identify a single set of facts, alleged to be undisputed. You shall only provide material facts. And do not rotely cut and paste from the statement of facts of the joint brief. The judge is saying, condense it down. Don't be a fucking lazy bum. If a party disputes a fact of bad faith by offering evidence that does not contradict the proffered act, the court will deem the fact undisputed for purposes of the motion. If you start fucking around, yes. Ag is saying, has this judge read the Greer versus Null docket? Yes. This judge has probably seen so much. Remember, this is a judge in LA. Think about how much bullshit comes across his desk. And he's like, fuck it. I'm going to make this easier on myself. Here's what I want. If you dispute a fact, the disputing party should state disputed in part, as we, see disputed in part. Jane says mailed the contract in May 2017. They say Jane testified she mailed the contract in January, and they cite where the dispute is. And see how they're talking, how they do this here. The party shall not engage in deliberate gamesmanship designed to abuse the process. Should be prepared to justify each disputed fact at the hearing. Abuses include stating a fact is undisputed when it clearly is not. Guys, in this, you will get this kind of shit. Oh, Your Honor, we're in agreement. The fuck we are. Like, that happens sometimes. Disputing a clearly undisputed fact in whole or in part. Manufacturing a dispute by mischaracterizing evidence. Reframing the stated fact in order to dispute the fact is reframed, or using an evidentiary objection to dispute an undisputed fact. Making a legal argument, or introducing clearly irrelevant or immaterial facts. Like, you have to do that. You can't fuck around. You can't fuck around. The brief shall be accompanied by a joint appendix of evidence, which is a separate tabbed appendix of all the evidence, including, in support of the or in support or opposition, including declarations, and this is the thing. This is the joint appendix of evidence is not part of that 25 pages or the 10 pages. Documents, photographs, expert reports, physical evidence shall be lodged separately, including video recordings. No evidence should be attached to a memorandum of points or authorities or included anywhere other than the JAE. It shall include a table of contents. It shall be filed as a single combined PDF. More than one PDF may be filed if the size file constraints preclude it. In the event multiple PDFs are necessary. We're not talking about Destiny here, Judge. The file shall be titled by part and exhibit series. Appendix Part 1, Exhibits 1 through 50. Each exhibit must be bookmarked. The bookmark should include the exhibit number and a brief description of the exhibit. Declaration cells, it just goes on and on and on. It says, they say no party shall submit evidence other than specific evidence necessary to support or controvert a proposed statement of undisputed fact. So, for example, don't submit the entire deposition or an entire set of interrogatories when relying on only a portion. Documentary evidence for which there is no stipulation regarding authenticity must be accompanied by testimony, either by declaration or deposition or transcript of a witness who can establish authenticity. So if there's contention with this, you now have to provide all of that here. This is very, 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 very important. There's an appendix of objections, and you can object to all kinds of things, lack of foundation. And that they say if oral argument is permitted, you only get 10 minutes. It's tough. This is interesting when I read this earlier. The court may deem a matter appropriate for decision without oral argument. This is actually kind of cool. However, a written request for oral argument is filed by any side before a ruling, stating that a lawyer of 5 or fewer years out of law school will conduct the argument, or at least a lion's share, then the court will hear an oral argument. This is pretty cool. Believing young lawyers need more opportunities for appearances than they usually receive. That's pretty cool. If you're going to let your young bucks, you're going to let your junior associates come in and do it. We're definitely going to do it. And that's neat, because when you're a junior associate in these firms, especially like in civil work, you don't generally get to, and you're working in a firm, you generally don't get to go into court. Or if you're in court, you're there like a potted plant. You sit in the back. It's not the same as criminal stuff where, you're a first year, you're trying things right out the gate, or as an intern, you're trying things out the gate. It's very different, but I think that's a very cool thing. I like that a lot. Like the judge doing this, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you're the coffee runner. Yep. Or you're just doing the research. And, usually it's the partner or the associate who's handling the client. So I think it's pretty cool. And it says remote appearances, those are not permitted absent good cause. And they say if exceptional circumstances exist, file an application. Settlements, you must notify the court 2 weeks before the hearing if you're conducting settlement discussions that may render the motion moot, and notify the court immediately. A belated notice of settlement wastes scarce judicial resources. And the judge is saying, don't fucking make an agreement, then forget to tell me until the day I'm saying, oh, hey, judge, we're actually all set. Because the judge would be like, when did you guys have an agreement? Oh, like 2 weeks ago. He's wasting time. He doesn't want time wasted. Failures to comply. The motions can be stricken. The parties may be required to repeat the process. The deadline for hearing the motion will not be continued for failure to comply, absent good cause. So if you fuck up, and you fuck up right at the last minute, then you don't get your summary judgment. I thought it was very interesting to see how this judge did it. This is a very, very strict set of rules. And it's just, you guys understand, these will make or break you. If you really don't do this, you're fucked. And then finally, with the updates for denims here, we have This is being referred to ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, also known as mediation. Once again, we got to give everything fancy names and church it up. So the court, having reviewed all this, parties request the ADR procedure selection form. The court submitted by the parties pursuant. The court orders this case. This is the judge doing it. This case is referred to the magistrate judge assigned to the case or the magistrate judge in Santa Barbara for such settlement proceedings that the judge may direct or conduct. Notice they declined to have this case tried before the magistrate, but he's saying the magistrate's going to handle the mediation. Counsel are directed to contact the magistrate judge's courtroom deputy to arrange a date and time for the mediation and settlement proceedings. And that is it. And it's been ordered. And, you can file. No, notice this. This is to be completed by August of 2026. So you don't have to go to settlement right away. You don't have to go to mediation right away. You could do discovery and then go to mediation. But you have to get it done 2 months before trial. The party shall file a joint report no later than 7 days after the ADR proceeding regarding the progress. And then there's not a further status conference, but the court could set one. And then it's dated, the 17th, and it's signed by the district judge. So that's just for you guys to get a taste of what these cases are. Just a taste of these cases. Now, from there, Ethan has there were some funny things that were posted by Ethan. This is actually pretty funny here. He's like, Casey Tron, you raised $44,517. You offered me a settlement of $17,500. This leaves $27,000. There's no way in hell you have paid your lawyers $27,000. What were you planning on doing with the remaining money? Trying to catch a payday? I'm sure she was. Imagine that. You mean she was going to scam her pay pigs and scam her viewers and simps? Of course she was. You mean that a communist was going to rip, a socialist going to rip people off of money? You don't say. He says, I rejected her offer, obviously. So, and then, yes, you have Casey Tron and Anissa the Greasy. Yeah, because that's, if you've got Anissa in your fucking corner, I don't think you can be convinced you're right. But remember, Anissa and Ian Idubbbs, for some reason, hate Ethan. They are so greedily and desperate to nibble on Hassan's dick that they hate Ethan now. It's weird. It's weird. Another from Ethan. He says, Casey Tron, the settlement is off the table. Good luck. He's like, we're all done. We're all done here. Yes, Casey Tron is truly an exceptional individual, yes. How is Anissa involved? She's not. She's just cheering on Casey Tron. So, yes, she's unsettled. Yes. Let's see here. Jefferson Post for $2 says there's no two-state solution for this lawsuit. Correct. Absolutely not. The Chugi Show says Andrea Burkhart's kittens are going to dethrone Clyde Lamau. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. David from MLS says, does Sean even know what he's doing? No, I don't. I'm kind of making this up as I go. Chooch has become a new member. Thank you, Chooch. And then David for $9.99. Again, thank you, David, over at MLS. Says, Sean, you're making Salvador Dali look good. Stop it. Well, I try. You gotta make those. It's like those Make-A-Wish kids. You gotta make them feel like they're winners, even when they're not. Yes, Ethan is doing this for fun. He's doing this for ruination. So, I'm waiting for the day we hear Casey Tron call Sean an incel on her stream. I mean, I don't know. Like, if she did porn, did she get like, I don't know, did she burn coal? Because it's like, I'd rather be an incel than burn coal, but hey, whatever. Like, get hollowed out by every guy you can find. Yeah. Ooh, you showed me. Some guy with cancer says, I'm a bigger winner than a Hassan simp. That is true. And I hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're whooping the shit out of cancer. Hope you're hanging in there. Positive thoughts for you, man. Positive thoughts for you. I don't think she even did porn. I thought she did. But if she didn't, she's still a fucking retard. So there you go. What's the legality in asking someone for $200 to not put in the claim for rending and then putting the claim in after it anyway? I don't know about that. I would not do that. I wouldn't know about that. So I wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't do that. Some guy just got back from Houston. Everything was stable. So it's all good. Oh, Meme is saying it's Denims that did porn. I don't know. Did Denims have the OnlyFans? Casey Trump was just a booby streamer. Oh, okay. Well, if that's all she did, she's like fucking. It's even worse because you're just like, you're half-assing being a porn star. So I don't know. I guess she didn't do porn then. I guess she just was wearing. Okay, so she's wore push-up bras. Okay, well there you go. I don't fucking know. I don't really fucking care. Suffer commies. That's all we need to worry about. So what do we have? The big thing. The Reddit mods are running scared. The Reddit mods, through the Doe defendants, they went ahead and got an attorney. So did they pool their money together? Did Reddit pay for it? Who's paying for their lawyer? I kind of wonder. But anyways, they have Cronenberg Rosenfeld, LLP. Oh my God, it's the attack of the Jew lawyers. Everybody's getting the tribe. It's a tiny hat convention. I don't know about this. Makes me nervous. I'm noticing everything. Foxwood says, how is Reddit involved? Remember, there was the H3Snark subreddit that was posting and pushing these streams for Denims, Casey Tron, and Frogan to air the content nuke. They also are likely, Ethan believes, involved in all the harassment that went on to him. So, it's a good domain on those emails. Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad. .law. I got to work on that myself. So, anyways, this is what's being filed here. So, notice all this to be determined. And yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen here. Shh, Bonbon's going bork bork. Yes. Yes. Sheckelstein Esquire. Yes. Shlomo von Shlomostein. So what are they doing here? They have a notice of their motion. They say everybody hates a critic. No, everybody fucking hates Reddit. So they point out that I love how they do this here. So what are they? This is their notice. They're bringing up their table authorities and they're going through their own things here. These are big cases here. Where was it? Campbell versus Acuff Rose Music. That's a big fair use case. That's an older one. That's a very big one. You know, the ones involving Napster. A lot of stuff here, guys. A lot of stuff here. They have a lot of it. They have a lot of different lawsuits. They have different cases that have been used. And then they have Ryan Kavanaugh versus Ethan Klein, among other things. You're like, huh, that sounds familiar. Yeah, that's the lawsuit where Ethan had to settle out. And it goes on and on and on and on and on here. All the different things where they were covering all this stuff. So it's funny of this, the notice and the motion here, but we're going to skip all that. They request the court quash the subpoenas with prejudice, or only alternative, enter a protective order. and or award attorney's fees, or grant other relief as the court deems just and proper. So, yeah. So, yeah, Metallica did get Napster. I know. Fuck you, Lars. So they point, everybody hates a critic. They say, on the face, the action is about copyright infringement. At its heart, however, the action is about stifling criticism and seeking retribution by unmasking individuals for perceived reputational harms attributed to the does and unrelated to the intellectual property rights. Yes, you figured it out, but it doesn't matter because he's got you by the balls. 100%, this is correct. And they point out that, this is a live popular comedy and commentary podcast hosted by Ethan Klein. And it's to compel the disclosure of the does, where Ethan sued Denims, and who are moderators of a subreddit critical of Ethan, its owners, and their podcast. And they seek to hold the does accountable for copyright. They agree. It's all of it there. And they say this is a thinly veiled pretext for obtaining their identities in order to expose, punish, and dox the does. 100% correct. But that's how this goes. He has got legal recourse to fuck you. Suffer does. You can't stop him. This is a valid course of action right now. What are the odds these people have any assets worth going after? Look at the pictures of when Reddit mods have met in real life. Probably nothing. Probably nothing except a collection of Funko Pops. And they say a subreddit is a smaller community within Reddit, created and moderated by other Reddit users. Yes, and they should all go to hell. So the subpoena, they point out these subpoenas broadly demand account information, despite clear facts that none of the does uploaded, distributed, or provided copies. They pushed for and advertised it. The posts that alleges constitute unlawful infringement were created to centralize critical discussion and provide URLs to publicly accessible user channels. So you're saying they condensed it and made an easy-to-find guide. That sounds like assisting. That sounds like they assisted. Like you're almost admitting it. They say which does understood would only host fair use commentary. Are you sure about that? No evidence exists of any coordination between the does and Denims. I'm sure if we got discovery, that's not going to be the case. I'm sure Denims has contact, or Casey Trotz had contact, or Frogan's had contact. They say additionally, Denims' alleged infringing stream constituted fair use of an already very thin copyright registration. No, it's pretty solid copyright registration. There's no thinness to it. There's no problems with Ethan's copyright registration. It was properly registered. So, this matter transcends copyright concerns. It implicates whether powerful entities, meaning the Jews, because is Ethan a powerful entity? Or do they mean his, backers in the Shin Bet? Can exploit judicial mechanisms to silence anonymous critics. At stake is a fundamental First Amendment right to anonymous speech. This sounds like a anti-slap motion, but you know what? There ain't no federal slap, so suffer. Allowing subpoenas would subject the does to harassment, reputational harm, and professional repercussions for engaging in lawful speech. I think that's yet to be decided. More broadly, allowing subpoenas will send a chilling message to internet moderators and commenters. Criticize wealthy and influential individuals and risk being unmasked in federal court. Well, don't be fucking retarded. Don't be fucking retarded. So they say, they go through the statement of issues. We're not going to worry about that. God damn it. Why do we have don't fucking orphans? Fucking control enter. This is so fucking garbage. So notice, they have to say Ethan Klein is an Israeli-American YouTuber. We really have to include that. We have to include that for some reason. YouTuber and podcaster, best known as a host of the H3 podcast. His wife, Hila, together Ethan and Gila own the company, and Ethan is frequently the public eye for his views and maintains over 5 million subscribers on his primary channel. Ethan formerly collaborated with Hassan, the Turk Roach Piker, the anchor baby. His mom came over, popped him out, and then took him straight back to Turkey. Another high-profile content creator who co-hosts the Leftover series on YouTube. Their partnership drew a large following due to their contrasting backgrounds and lively debates. The relationship soured over deepening political disagreements, especially regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the events following October 7, 2023. After the end, their relationship declined as criticism and social media jabs escalated into a public feud. They have exchanged critical videos, hosted a live debate in May that drew widespread attention. Ethan fucking beat that ass. Let me tell you what. Ooh, buddy. And discuss each other's platforms, criticizing each other. And they say Twitch streamer Denims is an online creator, blah, blah, blah. Denims is one of the many critics of Ethan and Gila. And then I love this. The Snark Reddit's a safe and anonymous space for criticism. Yes, that's it. Yes. Reddit is designed to bring together users in honest conversations, fostered by the ability to speak anonymously. The users communicate and engage through communities called subreddits. Gay. Moderators are unpaid volunteers who set community rules, norms, and expectations. Mods also remove inappropriate content and facilitate discussions. The subreddit was created for fallen fans of H3 to safely criticize Ethan. Fans of H3 were systemically banned from the official H3 subreddit of 580,000 members when they made critical comments. Ethan and Gila are the head mods of the subreddit. Fuck. God, I'm glad I don't have a fucking subreddit. I would fucking nuke it myself. Banned users use alternative spaces like H3Snark to critique Ethan's increasingly controversial statements about politics. Like what? What, that he thought Hassan was a fucking psychopath? World events and his feuds with other creators of former co-hosts. Thus, H3Snark emerges as a moderated subreddit with rules designed to foster a safe space for engaging in critical discussions, like calling children's services on people. So I shouldn't have started r/potentiallycriminal, and I will Fed post in that and have it taken down immediately. I will sign up for Reddit to fucking do that. Gain those drywall drips. Yep. The Does were moderators of H3Snark. Are or were. Remember, though, we covered this before. Somebody claimed that they were multiple identities of the moderators, so there's only a handful of them, actually. The moderators found it essential to ensure an environment free of harassment. They created rules, set up systems and pages, programmed auto mod code, and configured apps to assist. The rules were firm and principled on civility. Yeah, okay. Instead, discussion centered on actions or statements made on the podcast concerning Ethan's use of offensive language, including racial slurs. Oh no! Sexism! Oh no! Racism! Oh no! And homophobia! Oh no! Oh no, chat! Oh no! Oh no! They were guided by a sincere commitment to maintain constructive dialogue, and they received positive feedback from many members. The Does also took copyright infringement seriously. I'm sure they did. Taking steps to comply with copyright and fair use laws. The mods actively removed infringing content, updated their policies, and reached out to Reddit admins for guidance, and even consulted a lawyer to ensure their content remained copyright compliant. Did that include this one? Because that could be a possible defense. I relied on a lawyer. Which lawyer did you rely on? I doubt they did that. I doubt they fucking did that. So I'm just saying. After October 24, the subreddit banned references and links to alternative viewing websites. Except it did it. Like, because you put up the YouTube shit. Further, the mods created an automatic copyright disclaimer, which attached to every single post on the subreddit. They say, well, mods can set guidelines. They're not responsible for the content posted by the subreddit users. Who is responsible for it? Despite this, Ethan has for some time accused the Reddit and its mods of defaming him, harassing him, engaging in hate crimes against him, and later, after the subreddit was inactive, sending both CPS and human skulls to his house. And it says, to be clear. Whereas Barack Obama would say, let me be clear. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. The Does are not responsible in any way for the atrocious behavior described or any instance of harassing or defaming Ethan. Now, you guys see these are Doe declarations, and they're doing paragraphs like 3250, 133, 200, 219 up here. This is saying Doe declaration passim, meaning throughout. Continuous. They've repeatedly, Ethan and Gila have repeatedly made threats toward against the Does. Based! Total Reddit mod death. Roundhouse kick Reddit mods. Dropkick Reddit mods. Smash their heads over the hammer. Send them into the sun. And despite the claims being false, inaccurate, or entirely substantiated, the attacks are integral to the podcast and prime the audience to believe that any and all actions Ethan takes are justified. They are. Ethan uses his podcast to incite fans against the mods. Don't care. Womp womp. Let commie on commie violence ring. So indeed, the Ethan's fans have launched multiple threats against the Snark mods. How do you threaten anonymous people? If you're anonymous, how can you be threatened? Can we deport Hassan? No, because he's an anchor baby. His mom literally brought him here, popped him out, and then went back to Turkey. So no, you can't get rid of him. But there we go. How do you threaten an involved person like that? I don't know. In addition to actual threats and incitement, H3 has repeatedly threatened to sue the Does. Yeah. In 2023, the threats escalated, including warnings Ethan would involve the FBI and pursue legal action. Okay, and hate speech. Cool. But Ethan has not brought such lawsuits because the Does are immune from liability for the actions of subreddit users under Section 230. Are you really sure about that? Because they're actively involved. And two, the Doe's speech is highly protected under the First Amendment, and any legal action against the mods under traditional tort theories is subject to strict scrutiny and free speech protections, such as California's anti-slap statute. But it's not here. It's not here. Ethan's also threatened to uncover the Snark mods' identities using digital forensics. Based! He's expressed his eagerness to expose the Does, their friends, family, workplaces, and schools. Based! He even admitted on his podcast creating his own subreddits and harassed Does on the subreddit. Based! Reddit has found the H3-controlled subreddits guilty of harassment on its platform. Well, not being found guilty by Reddit, but harassing other Redditors. Based! 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 So... How is English his second language when he was born in New Jersey? His mom immediately he spent his first 18 years in Turkey. And then he was brought back. So notice they bring up that Ethan lays a trap. It doesn't matter. It's a legal trap. He set up a trap for you to walk into. That is not an excuse. He dared you to fuck around. That is not a problem here. That is not a problem here. So, so they say they point out of the 1 hour 42 minutes and 5 seconds of the content nuke, approximately 5 minutes and 58 seconds contains only new or original TEI content. And they say about 1 minute 5 seconds of the nuke consists of only new content, 1% of the video. I mean, maybe. I don't recall. It was all just blah, 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 blah. Hassan's a piece of shit. Like, we know. Yes. It's an obvious trap and we fell for it. Ethan activated his trap card. They say before the release, he built up public interest by discussing on his podcast. With the public interest became an equal interest in being able to comment on it or criticize it through safe channels. In the TEI-controlled spaces, such as the podcast YouTube channel and live sections, had grown increasingly hostile toward criticism. They have the right to do that. And they say Ethan published a nuke on his YouTube channel, which is publicly viewable. Following the publication of the nuke, Ethan himself probably broadcast a nuke in a full and continuous 24/7 loop on Twitch from March 5th to April 4th. I did not know that, but that's fucking hilarious. That is hilarious. So they go through this and they start ball washing for denims. Like, yeah. She facilitates safe criticism and fosters conversation. Yeah, we're gonna... Okay, gay. Gay! The instant lawsuit and the subpoenas. Then they say the complaint allegations. We're going through all this. We're going to skip all this nonsense here. Okay. This goes on and on and on and on. Basically, they're fighting it. And they point out that if this happens, discourse will be silenced. And they say Ethan has made the following threats to the does, which are based. He says, listen, guys, at this point, you are totally fucked. There's a subpoena that's going to come. You can't erase your data. We're going to get your IPs and find your information. Based. And it says, if there's any justice in the world, these mods will lose everything they care about, and I will be the one who makes them lose things through legal means. Through any legal means. Nothing wrong with that. It's true. He can do that. What's the problem? I see no problem. He says, I will spend and go to any limit to legally and within the scope of the laws allowed to annihilate you for any cost. Based. He says, there's no limit I will do legally to destroy their lives proudly and happily. I will proudly do it, and I will stand proud on their fucking proverbial grave in terms of their careers. Based. Damn, chat. I am sneezing. Yes, the earth shall be salted with their tears. Oh my God, chat. So, but they go on here. They say that, you know, the arguments to quash a subpoena. They're allowed to make the arguments for this, and they say that the does have standing to quash because they have personal rights and privileges with respect to the documents regarding their identities. I don't know if they do. And they're talking about the standards for unmasking anonymous speakers. You know, I think this is actually going to be a tough argument for them at the end of the day. I don't know how it's going to work ultimately, but they do cite a couple different cases here, and they say anonymous online speakers, and they say political speech is afforded the highest level of protection. Was it political if you're criticizing Ethan's work, or you're saying he's a faggot or he sucks? Was all this political? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think this worked. Like, are you sure this is all political speech? Because also, you know, that's not how this works. They go on to this is not, you know, the balancing of a plaintiff's right to seek redress for harms against the right to speak anonymously is the touchstone. Okay, but they're, you know, he's not the government. They say people committed no wrong should be able to participate online without fear that someone who wishes to harass them can file a frivolous lawsuit. It's not frivolous. It's meritorious. So already you lose. Ethan's not frivolous. He's 100% justified. It's a 100% justified lawsuit. Now, they point out that the motion to dismiss in here, Ethan must identify the missing party with specificity to show who they could be sued, identify all previous steps taken to locate the defendants, establish the court's satisfaction the lawsuit could withstand a motion to dismiss, and file a request for discovery with the court with reasons justifying the specific thing. So, and they point out is there an evidentiary basis? You know, they point out that First you must show there is a real evidentiary basis the defendants engage in wrongful conduct. And I would agree Ethan's shown that. I think he has 100% shown that. And second, only after he does that, the court must assess and compare the magnitude of harms that would be caused to Ethan's case and the competing interests by ruling for against the defendants. If enforcing the subpoena would cause little harm to their First Amendment and privacy rights, the issuance is necessary. But we don't know yet. That hasn't been established. They're saying this is going to be awful. They say the court has found that this test they're using is necessary where the speech is political, religious, or literary. No, it's none of that. It's literally just violating the Copyright Act. So I think this is absolute garbage from what they want to show here. They want to say that they can't show the knowledge for contributory infringement. And they say for this to attach, you must need more than generalized knowledge of possibility of infringement. Well, I think they have shown it. I still think they've shown it. They say simply facilitating infringement without knowledge of the direct infringement by third parties will not result in liability. I mean, this is where I hope Ethan, he's probably going to cite Greer and the Farms. Moreover, mere conclusory allegations the defendant had the required knowledge are not sufficient. And they say it's got to be knowledge can't be entirely speculative. And they say the pertinent question is, did the Does have knowledge that Denham's use was infringing as opposed to fair? Well, they said they've been talking to attorneys. Did they not talk to an attorney there? I think that, notice they haven't said we talked to an attorney told us was okay. That's when you plead these things out, you kind of set yourself up for a problem. Oh, we talk to attorneys from time to time. Did you talk to an attorney this time? Well, no. I don't know why you would include that. I don't know why you include that because now you're saying, I don't know. Like you're saying, well, how did we know? Now they say that the mega threads clearly state that the Does understood Denham's would be reacting to the nuke in a countdown, engaging in commentary and criticism. But did she, though? They talked to an attorney once. No, they talked to somebody at fucking r/Reddit, like law. r/law legal advice. They wrote to Luce or Luss. He didn't respond in time. Yeah. Did they talk to Legal Eagle? Maybe. T.I. alleges nothing more than speculation that Does were well aware of Denham's reputation for copyright infringement in lazy reaction videos. Well, yeah, because they knew Denham's. Are they going to argue they never heard of her before? And they say taking T.I. at its word, which the court cannot do. Okay. The knowledge of a reputation for lazy videos is not simple, specific knowledge that Denham's actually infringed. And the Does knew nothing of the sort. I think they knew. Yeah. My lawyer Saul ChatGPT, yes. They say that the Does that watched Denham stream such that they could not know whether it was infringing and not fair use. Indeed, Does did not watch Denham's stream. Okay, well, who's they watch? The Does knew it was highly likely that Denham's would be an infringing group view session. And they say, indeed, Ethan does not notify Does that it considered Denham's use to be infringing. Ethan did not send Does a demand to remove the links. I'm pretty sure Ethan has said before we tried to get stuff taken down and they don't take it down, if I recall correctly. And they go on to the contributory stuff saying we didn't induce, cause, or contribute to any infringement. And they go on and on and on with this, guys. They go on and on. They're trying to get out of this. They're trying to hide and cover their ass. They're claiming Denham's did not negatively impact the market. It increased it. How did that how did that increase the market? Because nobody's now going to go, oh, wow, I like Denham's and her, left-wing, Hassan Piker dick sucking. Now I want to go hear Ethan. No, it's not how that works. And they say stripping the original elements, Ethan's copyrights serve little protection. And they say even if Ethan had met its burden, the balance of harms are in favor of the does. If the doe's motion is not granted, they want a protective order. And they reserve the right to seek their attorney's fees. So that's ultimately what they're getting through there. Do the DMCA requests go through the admins and not the moderators? I would assume so. I don't know. I don't fucking know Reddit, and I'm glad I don't know the answer to that. Aluminium free. I don't know if you're trying to say there's no aluminum in you, or are you saying aluminum free? Yes, if you don't want to give this video views as increasing market, yeah, I agree. Yes. We're going to ethically watch it over here. So now from here, guys, this is the actual declaration of the does and the Reddit Snark mods. They are getting it's interesting what they talk about here. It's interesting what they say and how they say stuff. So this is the actual declaration of the does in support of the motion to quash. It's not all of them, but it's a couple of them. So notice they say some details, including personal and medical details, details which could be used to identify the does, have been excluded and are not being filed publicly for privacy. And notice it's not being filed under seal. They're saying they would only feel comfortable submitting the excluded portions of the court in camera for confidential review, meaning they'd only let the judge see them. Yes, Frogan is the fatty in the hijab, yes. So they're asking for this all to be protected. They say does are not seeking to file the excluded portions of their declarations, as the court may not find it necessary to consider the excluded portion. So we're not even getting the full things. The does respectfully request permission to submit the excluded portions for the court's confidential in-camera review. So what happens here? We have the first one. And he says, I'm the Reddit user H3Snark mod team instead of my actual name, in order to protect my identity pursuant to the First Amendment in California law. He says, I'm the former user there. I'm an unnamed doe, but listed as the author of the alleged inducement post, and my identifying information is requested. He says, I'm providing this because I want to protect my rights to free speech. No, because you don't want to get found out. It's very funny. He says, with my Reddit account, I served as a volunteer moderator for the H3Snark Reddit. My role as a volunteer moderator on Reddit was unpaid. Just true American heroes, chat. True American heroes. You know, just not even hit over your heart. Just straight 07s, chat. These unpaid volunteers. They do it for free. They do it for the love of the game. Yes. Sweep it up, jannies. They say my intentions were to facilitate healthy discussion about sensitive and controversial moments. What the fuck? Like, sensitive and controversial. What the fuck is this? Like, listen to these people. The plaintiffs have made their mark on YouTube for their edgy humor, sensational internet drama, disharmony with other internet influencers, and controversial political statements. Like saying fuck Hamas, apparently. Ethan has made Ethan's made some statements that result in YouTube suspensions during his career, including saying, if there's another Holocaust and people start rounding up the Jews again, I hope Ben Shapiro gets gas first. And someone should bomb that building when referencing the NRA. And it says these incidents are white. Well, I mean, really, it's joke's on you. Attacking the NRA doesn't really break most gun owners' hearts. They say that the plaintiff streams new episodes of his podcast 4 to 5 times a week. And from November 1st, 2023 to May 2nd, 2025, Over 200 discussion megathreads were published on H3Snark. The megathread is a special post typically created by subreddit's moderators that serves a centralized discussion on an event or a topic. Its purpose is to keep the community organized by preventing the subreddit from being overwhelmed. It says each megathread routinely linked to his YouTube channel landing page, showing a constant effort to lead users to the original source content owned by Ethan. Note this right here. I don't think that is really bad, because then why did you show Denims and Frogan and Caseytron? Why did you show their links? This I don't know why they did this. I don't know why he did this. I don't know why you would write this. Because you're admitting, well, yeah, normally I send people to Ethan Klein, but when it comes to the nuke, I sent them somewhere else. Yeah, that's not a... Now, obviously, the attorneys helped write this, but it's like, that... Anyways. What do I know? I'm not a Reddit mod. Yeah, they forgot to put in Ethan's link. It's all an honest mistake. For 19 months straight, the default moderation pattern was to link directly to original sources owned by TEI. The default for a year and a half straight. Yeah, admitting to a change of behavior is not smart. I agree. I agree. Once again, but what do I know? I am not the Reddit silver member. I don't have a karma to give. Ethan, another online streamer and political commentator, son, used to broadcast leftovers. Leftovers had episodes getting 500 to 1 million views an episode. Ethan and Hassan both stream dozens of hours of content each week on YouTube and Twitch. Hassan streams nearly 20 to 40 hours a week. Ethan streams about 10 to 15. When their relationship hit an abrupt point, the separation was broadly discussed and analyzed online across multiple platforms. Yes. At the end, the H3 fan base began splintering, which led to their viewers seeking to engage in good faith criticism and debrief the emotional and at times heated debate between Ethan and Hassan. Many fans familiar with Leftovers attempted to publish criticism on r/H3H3, but were banned for publishing opinions criticizing the clients. Okay. When Leftovers ended, the plaintiffs and the moderation team, who consist of entirely paid employees, we're fucking upset. Their jannies are paid. They got paid jannies, chat. They got mercenaries. So, after H3 banned a significant segment of their own fan base, many users migrated to other spaces, and Snark became the primary forum. Notice all these fucking footnotes. Oh, they say numerous posts reflect the user's disappointment, and we're not doing all 158 pages right here. Don't fucking panic. Don't panic. We're not doing all of that. Numerous posts on H3Snark reflect users' disappointment after years, sometimes more than a decade, of supporting H3 purchasing Teddy Fresh. That was a clothing line thing. That was all fucking weird. Merchandise or donating to the show only to feel disillusioned and banned for expressing disagreement. Darkside Phil fans can chime in right there. Access, they get paid. Suffer, you're not getting paid. You want the rule of completion? Then you're gonna. I'm gonna say it'd be Phil, but you're gonna have to pay for it. You need to farm the 180-page document. Yes, snort. Well, I do have a drip going right now, so yeah, I got the drip. Yes, welcome to Ban World. Ban. So many posters explain their bans resulted from voicing critique and frustration, not harassment or rule breaking. Okay. In a post published on December 12th, 2 months after it ended, a Snark user published a post titled, "Hold Up. This subreddit and other alternatives are populated with unfairly banned users. He says, let me get this straight. Ethan and his team give orders for the mods of the main sub to ban anyone who as much steps a toe out of line or says anything that could be viewed as critical. You know, the people in the r/the Donald know this pain. They know this pain. Remember, an entire subreddit got banned. Many of these people were paying members, and so they populate alternative subreddits. Ethan then complains and calls everyone in these deranged and schizos. Isn't it clear whose fault this is? How the fuck can H3 blame anyone but themselves? How are they the victims? Fucking Janny. Cry, Jannies! Cry. The post received hundreds of upvotes despite the Snark subreddit having less than 2,000 members. And then this is weird how it's not being the formatting thing here. So, and they say at around the time Leftovers ended, Ethan posted a controversial statement in which he later deleted. After facing backlash, Ethan abandoned Twitter and began using Instagram. Unlike Twitter's public permanent replies, Instagram story responses are private and visible only to the creator. So what did Ethan do here? Well, he went through all this, and yeah, I don't know how that's fucking really any admissible here thing. Yes. Judge, Your Honor, look, I ratioed Ethan. I got more updates. So they go through all this here. So they're saying people can't argue with you. He says, exactly, nobody can bait me into fucking arguing with them. So what? It's his fucking subreddit. He can do whatever he wants. And they say when they banned a large section of the audience, they migrated to Instagram to avoid public criticism. They also promoted H3Snark. These mentions worked as signal boost. So gay when they use all this stuff here. The callouts led to the Snark growing from 2,000 users to 40,000 users. That's a lot of fucking losers. And they say a total of 83 episodes of the podcast had sections discussing the Snark. Good. You guys are faggots. You deserve to be. The online controversies took a highly dramatic reality TV-like quality, with fans following the ongoing fallout between Ethan and Hassan. The users noted controversial moments such as Ethan's relentless targeting of Hassan on his Instagram, several of Ethan's employees quitting, as well as the plaintiffs alleged accidentally airing footage of themselves, scolding their employees behind the scenes, which went viral. Who the fuck cares like this much? I don't know. This is so fucking gay. This is so gay. They say our moderation of the sub, our jannying was consistently lawful and in good faith. While we did our best to moderate as heavily as possible, ultimately we're not responsible for content posted by subreddit users per 47 USC section 230. That's section 230. Are you sure that you're not liable? Are you sure? We ban low effort comments targeting unchangeable physical traits and strictly prohibited attacks based on religion, personal identity, or disability. For example, Ethan has Tourette's, which is expressed through physical tics. The subreddit ban comments about this topic. Oh, well, no heckin' racism here, chat, or ableism in this subreddit. Yes, they're literally using their Snark page to plead the case. They say any attempt to mock Ethan's Tourette's often resulted in complete subreddit bans of the poster. Discussion about Ethan and Gila's children is never allowed. Targeting the clients or his employees in real life, known as tapping the glass, or as we know it, touching the cows, was prohibited. By closely following Reddit's content policy, the terms of service, the subreddit remained in good standing without any warnings. And they say Ethan and Hassan's relationship hit rupture at the end of 2024. Ethan began promoting a new version of his content nuke series, announcing this time the target would be Hassan Piker. Based. This was not Ethan's first content nuke. He released several, just like, iDubbbz did Content Cop. There were videos aimed at Keemstar to cancel him. Like, he's done it on a lot of people. The content nuke for Hassan Piker would continue this approach. And it says leading up to it. So they said it was anticipated that the statements and content nuke would be largely controversial, as Ethan himself claimed they would be. They're not really controversial. Hassan sucks terrorist dick. So he says, I know this is like pushing it the boundary of what's appropriate to say. What, the Hassan Piker sucks terrorist dick? I guess. He had no problem popping Houthi dick in his mouth. He says, I'm more looking forward to like all these snarkers and Hassan fucking dick writers crying about the video, which they did. More than anything in the world. It's what motivated me and what keeps me going, frankly. They say, is it a bit of rage bait? He's like, well, it's not rage bait. It's just part of the video. And you guys will probably guess them when I show them. He says, it's like shitting and pissing moments throughout, especially for snarkers. And then he says, do not skip. Watch all the way through. And he says, at no point did the plaintiffs announce they were registering the nuke with the Library of Congress, which they had preemptively done days before it was published. Nor had the plaintiffs ever done this in their 12 years of making the content on YouTube. Notice they're saying, well, we didn't know this was going to happen. Why does it matter? Once again, you're arguing, oh, they followed the law. How did we know they were going to follow the law? Who could have perceived this? They say, had reaction creators known that Ethan registered the copyright, they probably would have grown suspicious that the video was a trap to catch critics into copyright lawsuits. That's because you're fucking retarded. Yes. Yes, toxic monger. Yes. Your Honor, the homeowners never told me they had a gun when I broke in. Yes, this is the gall of this legal argument in this declaration. Holy shit. Instead, the plaintiffs never mentioned a copyright registration and has shown encouraged snarkers to watch all the way through. Yeah, well, watch my thing. Make me money. So this goes on, and it says, I have never at any point contacted or attempted to coordinate with the named defendant Denham's, her team, or anyone professionally or personally associated with her. Now, you might say, well, wait, he's not saying about Casey Trotter Frogan. Well, this will pop up probably in those specifically stating that too. Just for each one of those. And he says, I've also never had any critic with the two critics suing the alleged copyright infringement. And he says, known as Casey Trotter Frogan, but you'll see here, he'll say it specifically in their each respective lawsuits. And he says, I am a private individual, no personal or professional ties to Twitch, YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, or any political commentator or influencer. Really? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Because this part right here, we're gonna get to the spot where there's a problem with this spot. You having a professional tie to Reddit. Remember, one of the people involved in this, we already showed his comments on the, I think in the leftovers subreddit. He's got indirect communication with the Reddit corporate staff. So some of you guys do. Some of you guys have content or connections. That's already happened. That's already been discussed. So the reaction streamers for the nuke. Many Twitch and YouTube streamers plan to react live, including streamers like Asmongold at XQC. So what? So what? He's allowed to stop people. You're not allowed to do it. Extremely popular was XQC, who has 12 million followers on Twitch. One of the largest reaction streamers in the space. Yeah. But they say just hours after things, a user on the plaintiff fan subreddit H3 where Ethan Services posted the video about XQC reacting with 53,000 live views. The user's post celebrated the positive reception of the content nuke. The post garnered nearly 2,000 upvotes. Here's a screenshot of it. Okay. Yeah. So what? They point out in paragraph 69 of the complaint, Denham's viewership on Twitch peaked at 45,800 concurrent views. In the moments above, viewers document that XQC peaked at 94,000 live viewers. Remember, there are a lot of questions about how Twitch was doing stuff. in counting things. So it sounds like that. Yes. Yes, he's allowed to own the copyright. He's allowed to let people do things. Yep. He's allowed to let certain people infringe and certain people not. That's how this works. They, notice they're trying to go for the total length of XQC versus Dedums. Well, they're both retards, but we're allowed to figure that out. Total time reacting, 48 hours and 30 minutes. Dedum spent 2 hours and 13 minutes. And it's full video, critical versus positive. And this is the Redditor now crying. Well, you're not going after everybody, speeding officer. This isn't fair. I question why XQC is not being targeted. Because he fucking hates you. Because you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. Just more and more and more fucking crying. As we get on from here, this whole idea of, oh, well, I didn't work with anybody. We move on to a couple different Reddit mods here. So they're coping and seething and pissing and shitting to get around stuff here. They have they cite. I'm not in here, sadly. I already checked, but Loose has a thing in here, which I was like, well, some of these people are getting noticed here. The day of the lawsuit was where is the since the filing a lawsuit, a former Snark raider wrote a YouTube lawyer. A letter a former Snark moderator wrote to a YouTube lawyer was released that shows moderators were actively seeking guidance on how to make the subreddit compliant with copyright laws possible. I love how they fucking wrote to a YouTube lawyer. They wrote to this is like Phil going to Mindset. Think about how fucking retarded this is. And I'm going through my notes that I have here, chat. I got notes on this. This is the best part. They went to this Loose guy or Lus or whoever the fuck he is. This is so fucking funny. The day the lawsuit was filed, they published, they say admitting the nuke was a trap. Yeah, it's allowed to be. But yeah, this is so fucking funny. This is so fucking hilarious. Did they send an email to Nick? No. Ethan's saying the purpose is not financial gain. Well, so what? So what? So what? He's allowed to do this. A trap was set. So what? You're allowed to trap people. You're allowed to fucking trap people. You're allowed to go after people. He threatened to dox the moderators. He's like, I won't save you scumbags from what's coming. It's like No Country for Old Men. You can't stop what's coming. I can't wait for your family, friends, and work, school to know what you've been up to. Bum, bum, bum. Fucking suffer, Reddit mods. Suffer, Reddit mods. I feel good about it. I feel good about it. So, it gets so good. It's so good. It just goes on and on and on here. It just goes on and on and on. All this, the grave chilling effect. Yeah, Lus is a weird. I don't know. I don't know who he is. He's a weird guy anyway. So, well, yes, he's a YouTuber. He should go to the YouTube lawyer, dude, for his content. My dad was killed by a Redditor. My dad would kill himself if he got killed by a Redditor. He says, well, I'm confident in my own intentions to never cause harm. I fear this is such a Reddit thing. I'm confident I never intended to do it. Well, did you inadvertently do it? They say, for example, a former reputation manager or PR person claimed they were once asked by Ethan to spin criticism he was getting as anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Yeah, that's how fucking PR people work. That's how spin doctors work. I'm not surprised. That's really not it's not really impressive. It's not really impressive. As this goes on here, there are some interesting things. These are some great stuff here. He says, "My fears are not unjustified. Ethan's fans have caused perceived enemies of Ethan legitimate harm. One of his fans called ICE on an international YouTuber, H3 critic Adam McIntyre, in an attempt to have him deported. The fans also attempted to get a critic, Mika's Rhetoric, to quit YouTube for making a video critical of Ethan and citing our subreddit. This is base calling ICE on these people. It's like perfect. 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 I think it's so damn funny. Now, we get to Ethan sending out stuff here, and he says, he's claiming to have personal information of people, which I guess Ethan can start doing that. But anyways, as this goes on here, you get from also, anyways, they have a bunch of no potentially criminal shit. I am so fucking set. My thumbnails didn't get out here. God damn it! I don't know how this works. I don't know how this doesn't work here, but anyways. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous how this is done. And he says, "For this reason, I'm not including more personal testimony about my experience. Ethan has made it clear he will not keep anything confidential between our legal counsel." Yeah, well, he doesn't want to. The following is a screenshot from Ethan's Instagram stories. Yeah. This is a response to a settlement offer. Yep, he's allowed to disclose this shit. But as this goes on here, this is a big thing. Since filing this lawsuit, I felt deep frustration with needing to protect my First Amendment rights. Many of my fellow Redditors have endured a deep psychological impact and fear of retaliation. Suffer! I don't care. But notice, here's where it gets interesting. To the point, this is, I'd argue this is kind of interesting, given all the information we've had so far in all of this. To the point that Reddit admins offered us free subscriptions to privacy software that would help remove our personal identifying information from the internet in case we are doxxed and harassed by the outcome of these lawsuits. That shit's not so you were getting free things from Reddit staff? Remember, this kind of goes along with that guy saying, "Hey, I'm in touch with the Reddit staff. We're going to be okay." Remember how fucked up this is getting, chat? Also, real quick, notice where this is going. Notice what we're doing here. So Reddit's involved. And that first Janny who talked shit on the subreddits we covered, this confirms it. The Reddit mods, or the Reddit staff, and the Reddit administrators, the real Reddit employees reached out to you guys personally? Just you guys? Huh. Yes. By doxing, do they mean phone booked? Yes. And they say that if this court allows the subpoenas to go forward, they're so scared. They're so scared. They're just scared. They're scared of the bad man. They fear will only bolden Ethan to file further, in my mind, baseless lawsuits. Based! Very based, chat. Notice, they just have the word based there. Correct. It is correct. It is based.
Was this story based? Yes.
Very based. Merely on speculation and unfounded theories of conspiracy. Ethan has already threatened to do so against O'Brien Potatoes and many other critics. I don't fucking care who that is. If unmasked in this lawsuit, I will undoubtedly be named as a defendant in the two other lawsuits, which are in two different states, forcing me to hire multiple attorneys licensed in different states to defend myself. I don't care. Suffer again. You fucked around, brother. You fucked around, and now you're going to deal with it. Now you're going to deal with it. I don't like, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. Really. Fuck this guy. I mean, really. This is the best. This is the best. You know, yes, and based. In addition to my fears of my family safety, this is a burden that would ruin me. But of course, that's what Ethan wants. Yes, and he's allowed to do that. You are here to suffer. Actually, like I said, it's not suffer. Suffer. You're here to suffer. Your suffering will be legendary even in hell. They'll see the smoke from Canada. That's how bad this is going to be. He says, well, I share deep concerns about my safety. I'm far more concerned about how my family and friends will be impacted. Yes, they'll be fucking embarrassed to know you're a Reddit mod. That you're an unpaid Janny on Reddit. My unmasking lead to misrepresentations of my character and impact the reputation of my family. Oh no, there ain't going to be misrepresentations. Everybody will make the conclusions they make. He says, I'm confident that any criticism I publish is free speech. Should the legal system fail me, my right to anonymity not be protected? Maybe you were wrong. Well, as a Redditor, here's a question. Some words that have never entered their mind. Well, maybe you're wrong on that. No, it's impossible. I said actually I'm correct. He says, I worry how will this impact the people I love the most. Do these people even have families? Ethan has stated he wants to ruin my life, harm my family, based, and destroy anything that matters to me, including my career. Based. Monster kill. Yes. Jenny, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Jenny? You've been struck by this Jew criminal. Then we just need the clarinet to play like to the tune of Hava Nabila. And my fears take him at his word because he's very passionately and explicitly promised to do so. Great! At a time where fear and retaliation amongst political commentary is at a high, since the gruesome assassination of Charles James Kirk, which I'm sure you masturbated over, because you're probably a fucking commie, too. Unmasking us over critical discussion of a political commentator would be deeply threatening to the First Amendment and the right to anonymous free speech online, as well as a threat to our safety. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Yes, again, this isn't political commentary. I agree. Psylop, this is multiple Reddit jannies. This is like 4 or 5 of them separately together. Yes. Ethan's name is not a cock. Take it out of your mouth. If the motion is denied, I fear Ethan's strategy for unmasking critics will inevitably invite the wealthy to relentlessly target and harass private anonymous individuals with barely their copyright accusations. Well, these are a lot more than barely there. Ethan's pretty solid. It will open the floodgates as a viable strategy to unmask anybody who fosters conversations. It will transform and irreversibly chill the digital landscape and the internet as a whole for anonymous commentary. And they say some of the accounts the plaintiff is subpoenaing 4 were never even moderators on the H3Snark at all. The broad request for unrelated user accounts strongly suggests he's fishing for critics' identities rather than seeking to resolve the dispute. Well, you could correct that. Denial of this quash will also cheer, denial of this motion will cheer the volunteer content moderation space. Safa! Safa! Safa. Oh no, chat. I don't, yeah. Oh, this is a fucking horrible shame. You know, they're worried about being unmasked with a contributory copyright lawsuit. And they might not have the means to fight this. He says, I believe there's a good chance the Central District Judge of California will find that fair use was found in Denham's reaction. And if so, I will have been unmasked and harmed unnecessarily. Are you sure? There's no true need to unmask anonymous critics. Except you guys caused all this to happen. He says, I did not work with anyone to spread hate or misinformation about Ethan, Gila, or H3, whether in the H3 subreddit or any other subreddit or anywhere else. I have no connection with anyone at Reddit. Well, one of you does. You've talked about it before. And they all go on to make the similar arguments. I didn't report Ether or Gila to LA County Children's Services. I was not involved in the skulls being delivered. I am not conspiring. I've never conspired with anyone to damage H3. I mean, except for your other jannies. Now, from here, there's a bunch of other things they address as they go on. I mean, like, guys, this is just on and 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 on. Like, look at all this shit. This is just obnoxious, fucking noxious. And we don't need all this. And notice all the different timestamps of its screenshots they had to do here. This is just ridiculous. Fuck these people. This is interesting. I love this part here, this highlighted part. And they say, just as he did in the content nuke, the complaint relies on heavily out-of-text comments and post bad faith interpretations and provably false claims to defame, insult, and inflict harm upon those he deems guilty of the crimes of hurting his feelings, which, last I checked, extends beyond the scope of jurisprudence. This is the most Reddit fucking reply ever. Well, actually, yes, as somebody said earlier here, I got to find the comment. Yes, as a tip, you tip my hat. Yes. Anonymous for $5.01 says, Your Honor, I present to you Exhibit 13. As you can see, my karma is much higher than Ethan's. Clearly, I am in the right. Yes. John Coleman says, can we just send Congress in a conclave and tell them to set up white smoke when they get a real budget? I mean, that would be a good idea. Like, lock them in. I think that'd be a great way to do it. Hypnotoad for $2 says, Suffa Reddit. Suffa. That's all they do is Suffa. Are the H3 mods worse than Stuttering John? Or his mods? He has mods? He has enough fucking people to watch that he has mods? Or is he one of those people like everybody on the fucking channel is a mod? It's like, those kind of get gay after a while. But thank you, Cute Turnip. Thank you for being here. I think you're a new face, so I just want to say hello. And, I was wondering why I was putting my foot on. I'm like, that was a weird thing. Just Now Jam's been a member for 8 months. Says, has there been any justice for Afro Man? His case is being set for trial next year. So it's not set for a while. It's all kind of up in the air right now. This is just pure Reddit bullshit. Pure Reddit bullshit. Just listen to these fucking people. This is so gay. Free speech for H3, not Doe 3. Yes, fuck you. Nobody cares. No one cares. And he says, I did not work with anyone to spread hate or misinformation about Once again, you see these similar these claims here. I have no connection with anyone on Reddit, nor have I made any connection with any Reddit employees or administrators. They do all of this, but they also, remember, somebody stated they have access to all the Reddit, stuff. So he might be going to trial. Yeah, he's probably going to trial. Oh, the cute turnip says, are these worse than Stuttering John's? No. These are actually competent attorneys. They're better than Stuttering John's attorneys. John's attorneys are fucking retarded. Absolutely fucking retarded. And we might go over that tomorrow. I'm not sure. Depending if we're gonna do the Fudbuster update on Friday night, we might go over Stuttering John shit tomorrow. John Coleman says, ew. Yes. Thank you. He says, Ethan has emboldened others to try to pry into the lives of former users and moderators. Oh, well. He's only targeting critics, but their spouses, partners, parents, siblings, employers, business associates, sponsors, and even members of his own family have left me unable to speak more personally about the harm his conduct has caused. Oh, and he's like, I'm doing this, Your Honor. I need to shield the innocent people in my life from my gayness. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. This is so cringe and so gay. So cringe and so gay. I mean, this goes on and on and on. These people are just being fucking garbage about what they do. And it just, like I said, guys, look, see, this goes on and 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 on. I will say this was like, I just, if I was Ethan, I would have done fucking hundos. That would have looked cooler. Or even fake hundos, just filmed it so you can't tell. Use some movie magic. He's in Hollywood, get some fake money. But that would have been the boss way to do it. And notice this person says, I didn't work with anyone. I've never worked with anyone. I've never worked with any streamer. I wasn't aware some of these channels existed. I was never a moderator of any other subreddit besides H3Snark. I think bullshit. I don't believe that for one fucking minute. I don't believe that for one fucking minute. Don't believe it for one fucking minute. There is another thing here. This became the 548-page declaration from their attorney. And yes, it's 548 pages. Once again, we're not doing all of that. We're not doing all of that. We're not doing all of it. No, because you're going to see a bunch of it's just rehashed bullshit. But this is the declaration from the attorney involved. And they say they attach here all the different things. It's just, when you look at this, it's just fucking ridiculous. These are just all the different things here, including the discovery orders. Like, this person, like, they're including everything here. They're including everything so far so they can attach. And what do they do to all this? They can leave this all out here because they're just saying this is all a bunch of horse shit here. And that this is providing all the relevant evidence here that shows what's going on. So when you guys look at this is the complaint against Denims. You start off with that, and it just goes on and on and on for a while. And you're like, wait, we've already seen this before. Yes, you're right, we have. And it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. Emails, all the different exhibits, all the different things that have been filed so far. They've got all the documents ready to go. They even include like the pre-trial and trial dates worksheet thing we just talked about. Notice how they have this all set up. And they give you the dates for all these things. That's how this works. And then finally, that gets us to the end. We're actually caught up right now. But what do we know? These guys are admitting that the Reddit like admins are helping them. They're getting help from the Reddit admins. And you're like, how does that work? How is that legitimate? How does not get them implicated? I don't know how it doesn't. And I think some of these people have to be deposed because there's clearly something going on. And through their own statements, they've admitted to it, but now they're denying it. So what the hell is actually happening here? I don't think that's been established. At all. I don't think it's been established. And I hope he gets these. I want these mods to suffer. They're fucking Redditors. I have no love for these people. I'm like Eamon Guff in Schindler's List. We're not here. Hold on. What was that? That was a weird look. Anyways, I'm like Eamon Guff when they kill that one lady. We're not here to argue with these people. Tayo Toys, Phil, how you doing? He says, I'm down here at the NRA with my Reddit mods. Oof. Anonymous for $5.37. Thank you for the odd numbers here. Says Ralph Voice. Yes. Nick Ricciardi said I could hit post about it. Why isn't it here? I thought this was a traffic court or something. Everett Scott says, can Aaron demand kosher goo while he's in jail? I don't know. Maybe he can. Kia Patton says, suffer Reddit. Yes, it's never wrong to make Reddit suffer. At this point, it's suffer. We're not doing this with the folksy Southern draw. It's just suffer. It's suffer. Just die. Let's see here. Foley says, do you say things like, you say, may it please the court, not if it pleases the court. May it please the court. Depending on the situation, yes. I don't say that like every time I walk in the court, like, good morning, good morning, Mr. Martin. How you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great, Your Honor. Do we have a resolution on something? Sure. I don't normally just say may it please the court. I like when we're doing formal things, I may say that like, sentencing or a more formal argument. Yes, but I don't do that every 5 seconds. Courts will be like, okay, just shut the fuck up. Let's get to it. And they're like, that's cringe. Superior Defense says, I liked Ethan, then I didn't, and now that he's Lex Luthor, I love it. Like I said, I don't, communists are fighting, lefties are fighting each other. I'll have a Coke. I don't care. There's not a lot of hold on here left. Hold on. Not much left in there. But anyways, yeah. I'm all for it. I'm all for the fireworks. Good, the Reddit mods deserve it. I don't think anybody disagrees. Yeah, they called CPS on them. That requires war crime levels of retaliation, yes. Decimus says, were you an O&A fan? Yes. When I was in like high school and the early part of college, yeah, I was. I remember listening to Sex for Sam live when they went off the air. They got caught in St. Pat's Cathedral. Like, a lot of that shit was funny. Loved the homeless shopping sprees, all that fun stuff. Yes. I was not a Howard fan. I didn't like Howard Stern. Martin Shecklestorm says, Aaron's going to play Naked Twister in the Slammer. Well, somebody's going to play Naked Twister with Aaron. He doesn't realize he's going to be the Spinny. Oh. Erica Thorpe's been a member for 11 months. Well, thank you for being here, Erica. I know it's probably been longer than 11 months, but thank you for the, it's acknowledging you for that much. But I know you've been here longer. But thank you guys. Like I said, I know not everybody could be here that long, but thank you guys all for being here. Like I said, support is lurking, support's commenting, liking, whatever. It's all support. It's been way longer than 11 months. And then hi, Bon Bon. Yes. Yes, Bon Bon's going to be here for a little while. EDW Raptor says Sean got something wrong. Time to unsub. Jefferson Post says, Lesson, don't fuck around with your bail conditions. That's correct. 13 months worth of correct. Oh, yeah. And then Meme Copium, friend of the show, Josh. Been a member for 5 months. Thank you, Josh. He says it's always Wednesday somewhere. Thank you. It's probably Wednesday in Japan already. So with that, guys, we are all caught up on everything. 200 likes, pump up those numbers. Yeah. Yeah. John Coleman says for $200, Candace lied. Really? What happened? Did we get proof to like, did we get picture of like Brigitte Macron's cooter? Did we get to see it? Did we get to see her box? Her hatchet wound? I mean, how do we know Candace lied? I don't know if we do yet. Botto says, oh, Nick may be not able to offer Ethan legal advice, but we could offer a good Baldo. Yes. Yes. Yeah, O&A was far better than Stern. I agree. Yep, whip them out Wednesdays. I remember when people used to do the shootouts for Anthony. Like, people would sit there, some guys, like, just, people just start shooting on the phone for Anthony. He loved it. He does Charlton Heston voice. Am I Gecko 34? No. I'm not nimble enough to jump in front of my significant. That would be like, that means I have to jump in front of 2.0 and take fire in my chest plate while she sits behind me and assembles the 338 rifle inside the mall to deal with terrorists so she can kill them. I'm not nimble enough to do that and protect her. So no, I'm not Gecko 45. I know people like to think I am, but I'm not. He's snorting cum! You need a wig and a robe, Sean. Funny you should say that. Just you wait for things. Just you wait for things. Say it with a southern accent every 5 minutes. Say what? Suffer with a hard R. Suffer! Suffer! Let's see here. Decay Redditors are Urban Decay Redditors are literally the worst sheeple. Yes, they are. We're not in Minecraft anymore. No, we're not. Johnson, I have a bald spot. Where do I have a bald spot? The fuck are you talking about, man? Urban Decay says, which Reddit mod touched you as a kid to make you hate them so much? I don't know. I haven't, I don't like communists either, and I've never been friends with one either. I don't like, hanging out with the Trende Aragua guys. None of them did me wrong, and I fucking hate them all. Like, I don't like, you don't have to. They're all Reddit. Reddit's fucking cringe. There's very little you can pull off Reddit that's been useful. I'm sorry. But it's gay. It's absolutely gay. Could Reddit be brought into the suit due to helping out the mods? Yeah. Yep. Possibly, depending on what they did. Yes. They might be contributorily liable. It depends. We know Reddit. We know the Reddit admins have been active before fucking around and things. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were busy sucking Hassan dick. We know Twitch sucks Hassan's dick. So easily could happen. Easily happen. Could Reddit have over deleted the messages and overwrote the backup? Yep, that's going to look weird if that's all gone, because who's probably got some information they've already gotten it from? I'm sure they've gotten some information from Denims already. Yeah, that's going to look bad. It's going to look bad because they're going to ask Denims for that stuff. It should be like, there were messages here. They're all gone. And she's going to blame Reddit for fucking around. So you have to be careful when you do that stuff, because the Snark mods might be like, oh, yay. But Denims has to turn around and say, Ethan, I didn't delete them. Reddit did. And now Ethan goes after Reddit. So Reddit has to be careful. Reddit has to be careful. Reddit has to be careful. Can you have a negative inference and the evidence if deleted? Well, let's say Ethan was able to get the shit from Denims and then Reddit tried to delete things afterwards. Oh yeah, he could easily turn around and take advantage of that and say, "Look, Your Honor, we caught them in the act. We actually have the evidence, but can we also get an inverse can we get an adverse finding?" And depending on the situation, you might be able to. But you're going to be able to introduce at trial that Reddit did then delete evidence. Like, you're going to be able to introduce that at some point. So that is an option. That is an option. Yep, sorry. I bumped the camera off. Will Ethan own Reddit? No, it's not like that's going to happen, but it'll be very helpful to go after him. It will be very, very helpful to go after him. Let's see here. Where is... I just realized I'm kind of like zoomed in. Here. Where is... Hold on. Is this going to be... Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Let's see. What else are you guys up to here? Hit the button again. Yes. Now I can see your pretty face again. Aw, thank you. I'm picking my nose when I turn the camera off. Well, no, I was going to be like, see, look, I'll do it right now. No, I won't. I'm going to mine the gold and keep it for myself. I don't share it with the townsfolk. Obscure crime. Hi, guys. Say, speaking of cameras, the one you suggest for Ron should be here tomorrow. Cool. I hope you guys enjoy it and make some stuff there. What's my favorite Reddit? I've looked at the one for our blacksmithing just to get some ideas on what people have made, but that's about it. I really don't have any use for the rest of it. So he's nose picked. You tell me anybody who doesn't pick their nose, and I'll show you a fucking liar. Everybody picks their nose. Sergeant Dornan says, have you read On Killing? Yes. I mean, it's got some good things in it, but there's a lot of problems with it. I mean, there's a bunch of different books you can read and other accounts you can read about, psychology and how it deals with traumatic events. But there's a lot of critique about On Killing. So I'd be careful about it. Don't take it with a grain of salt and then read some of the critique of it, because there's a lot of critique out there. It's true. All men pick their nose, but only the heathens eat it. Yeah. Yes. There are two types of people in this world: people who pee in the showers and dirty fucking liars. That's true as well. If you don't pee in the shower, I don't trust you. All right, guys. So that is it for us tonight. We are all done. It's 11 o'clock. We got all done. So from here, tomorrow night, I think we will go over the Stuttering John stuff, because it is appropriate, because the one attorney tried to make excuses about Rosh Hashanah. It didn't actually get it right. It picked the wrong days and shit. So I think it'll be funny. And I think we'll go through that. And then Friday night, we're going to go through the Fudbusters stuff, because there is a lot to go through there. There's a lot that makes it go, the way things, I'll put it like this, chat. Because I don't know how far Matt's has closed things, but things have kind of disintegrated for Chody Wilson out there. The 3D printer and lover of underage, jailbait. So we will do that. Don't leave us, fat man. Well, yes, I'm going out for milk, chat. Yes, counting down to the government shutdown, which will be interesting. Remember, government shuts down 100 days every year, 104 days every year. And divide that by 52, it's 2 days a week. You might say, wait, the government shut down 2 days a week? Yep. And we all survive. Whatever happened to the Ricada tapes? That's still being worked on, Sweet Tooth. The fight for freedom still rages on. The fight for freedom is still raging, but it's being handled right now by Matthew Hardin. So give it some time. Real quick, Hunch, the dirty roofer, you said, yeah, Grossman was not a combat veteran, and all of his philosophy is based on theory. Correct. But I will say, like, some of it turned out to be true and applicable, but there's parts of it that are not. Read it, but read the critiques of him, because some of it's useful, some of it's not, like shooting at silhouette targets, or like if you're at the range and you want to practice, drawing from conceal, putting a target in a shirt and pants is a good idea, because you need to train yourself to the idea. I'm going to have to, if I have to kill someone or shoot someone to stop a threat, they're going to be clothed. You have to condition your mind to the idea and how that's going to work. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. There's some things in there, but there's other parts of it that aren't. Like I said, read it and then read the critiques. Read the critiques. John says I shit in the shower. And Nico says my shower is named Anissa. Well, I'm sure you both named your shower Anissa then. There's possibly body cam footage. Not anytime soon. The battle for that's going to be a long, protracted legal battle, but not anytime soon. Eventually, yes, but not now. Not now. Not anytime soon either. Not this year. Next year, probably not. You're going to have to trust the plan. Yes. The White House account has a countdown going. Funny. Johan says, it's not true. Can I put the Reddit mascot on my target? Sure. The shower's named Anissa. Piss on that turd. Yes. I thought Josh Moon is trying to get the body cam footage. He is. Right now, there are multiple actions being sought to get it. Legal actions are being filed to get it. It's going to take a while. Civil actions are never fast. So, yes, Noel's trying to get it. Do I think Harry Kane's going to hit 50 goals this year? I can see it. I mean, that's definitely not like crazy. It's not I could see it. I definitely could see it. Big riff action tonight from Ross Vaught. Ooh, buddy. There's going to be a lot of riffing tonight in DC. Reduction in force. So, with that said, though, chat, I'm going to let you guys go. Good night, and remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. But if you're a Reddit Janny, God doesn't love you. God does not love you. Just keep. Oh, wow. That's neat. That's come back. I wondered how to do that. God does not love you, Jannies. Good night, chat, and take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick hated yelled at?